Good afternoon. How's it going?
Yo,
What up?
can you,
Are you home, Rev?
can you, crafting order a bandage for me real quick, please?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm almost done
What's up?
with all of my weekly stuff. We're actually getting dangerously low on stuff to do this week. I might actually be done like today.
My directive is to serve.
It's pretty much that sort of situation. Bandage, guild order 1. Bandage, guild order 1. The homie just asked me to put up some band-aids. So we put up some band-aids. Alright, there they go. Band-aids up.
Return and peruse my inventory again.
Okay. Dude, I need a haircut bad. Need a haircut. Something fierce. Twitch Prime? What's that? What's that message for? Okay, yeah, let's knock it out. So I think my inscriptionist is like, or scribe. It's almost done here. Can we... Oh god, yeah, so many orders. Does it... It does not allow for us to filter with skill up, even though these are skill ups. Or I guess they're knowledge ups. Yeah, we just have to look at each individual one. Shit. Okay, this one should be a free one. Yeah, it's rank 2, so that's actually free. Knock this one out. This is rank 3, so that's gonna be tough. This one's also rank 3, that's also tough. I don't really want to spend more concentration right now. I guess it comes back in, what, 100 hours? It takes 100 hours for you to get your concentration back. Today's Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I guess we can do it, actually. It should be fine.
Yo, my tailors, are you guys level 100?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you level it up? What recipe from 60 to 90 or whatever?
You
have
just
to
do the
patron
crafting.
orders,
Yeah, the crafting orders that patrons put in.
because they always request at least like 3 when it refreshes.
Yeah, so you didn't read the message on the chat there. So I'll let you off with a warning. Yeah, I'm also 100, and I have a lot of points to spare. Okay, 10 boundless ciphers for this. 100 years old, yes. Yeah. The Arcane playstyle is going to be the same. Probably. Because they didn't even, like, implement the burden thing. They didn't implement it. So there's no burden change. Blizzard, I guess, forgot? Who knows? Oh, they did? They finally did? Did it come through? They hotfixed it. Oh. Yeah, it wasn't with the patch. They didn't do it with the patch. Oh, we should get this one. That's some metal. So now it's in? Is that what you're saying? Hold on, let me check. They did it later in the afternoon. Okay. So yeah, there it is. People were assuming that they wouldn't do it, and I was just like, yeah, guys, I don't know if... I don't know if you can assume that. Okay, we need spores for this one. Spores for this one. Okay. We need our Brutosaur.
Have anything ancient to trade? Needs to be at least 2 centuries old.
Yeah, I feel like Mythic Zero rewards are so low that, like, it really doesn't make sense for them to not have it open this week. My theory on that is, I think whenever they did the change, because they made it equivalent to a Mythic plus 10 before, I think there's probably some hitch in why they can't do it. Because it's releasing with Mythic Plus, right? I don't think that's a coincidence that it's releasing with Mythic Plus. I think that the change that they did to bring it up might have somehow tied it to Mythic Plus, and therefore they can't change it without releasing Mythic Plus 2. That's my theory, at least. I could be completely making shit up, but I think it's really weird that they didn't release it like this week, because the gains from Mythic Zero are so small that by the time it releases, we probably won't even do it. Like, most players probably won't even do Mythic Zeros. The rewards are just not worth it. Yeah, it's next week. That's what I'm saying. It's probably just not... It's probably not working. Oh, it is? Okay, well, never mind. But either way, it doesn't make sense. Like, why the fuck is it releasing so late when the rewards are so bad? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Because, like, by the time it comes out, like, most people just aren't even going to be doing it. Because you'll already have outgrown it. I just don't understand why this week wasn't Mythic Zeros. I feel like it would have made so much more sense for this week to be Mythic Zeros. Like, why time gate? I don't know. I'm okay with some time gating. Like, the time gating was a good idea. I think they just went a little too hard with the time gating. Maybe they should have just done it like a little bit lighter on the time gating. You know, I just think they went a little bit too far with it. Yeah, I'm gonna make a new arcane guide. People are like banging down my fucking door to get my guides out. I'm sorry. I need to get caught up. There's a lot of shit I gotta do. The first thing is I need to get Wowhead up to date, because I have season 1 deadlines coming up. So that's my first order, order business, is to get that done. And then after that, then Arcane Guide, and after that, then it's going to be a Aug Guide, and after that, it's going to be a Frost Guide and a Fire Guide. So yeah, full fucking plate. Full plate. Apparently the burden thing is fixed now. That's what they're saying. Hold on, let me confirm that before I what's my plan for spark items? Probably weapon, but I'm gonna wait. No, I'm here. What's up? Oh, you caught me mid sentence. I was ranting about the burn power change. Yeah. That's what I'm looking at right now. Changes are live on NA. Okay. We'll update the stream bot then. One sec. Thank you for letting me know. I don't test it like every day, because I've been too busy on other characters getting all my stuff done. But yeah, we'll update it right now. I wrote the post for it in a way that would like translate easily. For burden, nerf. Just treat GI as burden. GI from burden like you would intuition. Okay. Evoker's sick, bro. Nerf is now alive. Okay, it's done. Okay, if they nerf Sackbrood, that'd be funny because there's a way bigger outlier. Way, way, way bigger outlier.
If you find anything exotic,
It's the Spymaster's trinket. Codified Greatwood. Yeah, the Spymasters is like insanely good. It's so good. It's so good that like even Dev Evoker wants it. That's how you know that shit is fucking insane. Who drops Spymaster? It's the second to last boss. Silken Court. Oh, there's the bot. Okay, we'll pin that shit. Good bot. I don't know what triggered that, but we'll just keep that as our message of the day. Okay, yeah, so like Spymasters. No, it wasn't in response to you. I don't know what triggered it just now, but I'm just gonna pin it. Yeah, so the Spymaster's trinket is the one where it's a variable on use. So like basically if you just get procs from it, it gives you a buff. And that buff just stays on you. And then whenever you use the trinket, it only has a 20-second cooldown, but what it does is it takes whatever stacks you have and it rolls them into a buff. And then that buff magnifies the stacks by like an insane amount. So it's like a really good trinket for people who have like variable cooldown timing. Because if you have like variable cooldowns, you can just use the trinket whenever. But it's so good. Here's the problem. It's so good that even the like 2-minute classes want it. The like hard 2-minute classes. So like it's just a bit overtuned right now. It's just a bit too strong. I'm sure that they'll do something about it. I expect it to probably be nerfed, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, I suspect it will probably be nerfed.
communication initiated.
Can I actually hit max rank with this? Oh, I can. Okay. So we're going to save this for last. We should try to get the other ones done first. Do I have all the blue tools? Yes, I do. All the blue tools. Okay, these are all just metal, but that's a lot of metal right there. Okay, let's knock out this one. Yeah, there'll be a new Arcane video. Yes. Mass Disintegrate does feel insanely pog. You should try PvPing. It feels so fucking good in PvP, it's crazy. I know I just ripped an insane statement saying you should try PvP, but like, unironically, you should try it. It's actually really, really fun. Writing sample, boundless ciphers.
Have anything ancient to trade? Needs to be at least 2 centuries old.
So I'm gonna do this step by step here because I want to maximize my points
Find anything
so I
exotic?
can save as
Bring
much concentration as possible. Oh, we do have some gains to be had here. So yeah, we'll knock out this one. Crafting services. Okay, we don't need that one. That's alchemy. So I should have all of my points now. I think I do. Okay, so we're trying to get this unlocked here, so I think probably ingenuity, but it depends. If you're making like pieces for things like the reagents, multicraft is better. Multicraft has like no value with gear crafting, so yeah, this is my paladin. It's really just for like getting delves done for rep and doing this inscription shit. I'm a master of the stick. Look at this dude. Stick master. Stick lord. I'm done. Yo, this one's juicy. All right. You ever find a good stick? Dude, I'm in Stick Nation. Anyone else in Stick Nation on TikTok? I'm on Stick Talk. I fucking love it. I'll just be scrolling and I'll see a random TikTok and they'll be like, "What up, Stick Nation? Check out this stick I found." And someone will just like whip out the coolest stick. No, it's like it's not like a dog stick. It's like someone will just have like a stick that they like found in the woods and it's just sick as fuck or like really useful, or like maybe they carved it a little bit. The last one I saw was like an 80-year-old man who like had this stick that was like a perfect stick to like lift up a lid on like if you had like a pot in the fire on a camp out, it was like the perfect stick to lift a lid. And then there was another one where this guy had a stick that was like a fucking bat and it had spikes coming out of it, and it was crazy. Like the spikes were like natural from the stick itself. Why full charge fire breath when doing single target with tip to skills? So there's pandemic built into the fire breath duration. Pandemic is like whenever you do a damage over time, it can roll the extra over. So the way that fire breath works is it always does the same amount of damage. It's just a matter of how much damage goes up front versus how much damage goes over time. The thing is, the cooldown on fire breath on average is much lower, at least in cooldowns, than the actual full duration, right? So if you let it over cap, you're wasting damage. So the reason why you tip the scales on the second one is because the first one puts up the dot and there is some excess, right? But whenever you tip the scales on the second one, it rolls it into there's like 30% that gets rolled back into the first, or like the new one. So the new duration ends up being just enough with that like added in for it to basically keep coverage up. So the goal is just to keep fire breath up the whole time. You just do it on the second one big because you already have one up. So it just like, it kind of like extends it. That's how pandemic works. It's up to 30% of whatever the new value is. If it's present on the target, will get rolled into the new one. So it's a more effective way to get the damage out. That's why. Also, you're in your burst, so like a fucking max rank fire breath is gonna hit hard as fuck. Oh, we're so close. Okay. Sorry about that. Let's put some points in here. That should push us to the point where we can do this now, yeah? No way. Why is the skill not transferring? Missive. That's missive, right? Additions. +1 skill point. What does this say? Lexicon related. Is this not lexicon related? I wish they had like better tooltips. I had Chain Disintegrate beaten into me, so now Mass Disintegrate feels like I'm doing something wrong. Yeah, that is a problem for sure. It does feel wrong. I agree. Something about it just feels kind of wrong. But it is good to do, right? So just make sure you don't fucking early chain it. That would be really bad. You'd lose a lot of damage doing that. So just, you know, be careful. Okay, I think this is the last one I can do. The other one I'm gonna have to wait on. It's kind of fucked that getting the second point in this one takes 30 points. Like, what the fuck? Why does it take such a heavy investment? Like, just to unlock this side, you gotta go all the way to the end? That's crazy. You can't even choose a sub-specialization until here, 10 points in. That just feels wrong. Okay, I don't know if I'm going to put any more points into this. This gets me so I can do the rank 2s all the way up. See, like this? I just need concentration now. So I think that's enough for this guy. Okay, let's put our stuff back into Void Bank. Dude, I have way too much gear in here. I'm gonna have to like clear out all this shit. There's like way too much stuff in here. Cursed pickaxe. You'll occasionally be consumed by the curse. Ooh. That sounds spooky. Okay, I think that should do it. How do you play around Burden? So for Burden, you just treat Glorious Incandescence that you get from it the same way you treat Intuition. So you would just use it on your next barrage, where you could double dip on Nether Precision.
Fine, leave. I was done talking to you anyway.
Okay, I think this guy is like fully done. I did my alchemy. My inscription is high as fuck now. We'll add this to the screenshot. So you just like blast through the like let's imagine the scenario is let's imagine the scenarios you have 1 stack in their precision and burdens up, then you just blast in the barrage like you normally do. But let's imagine now you have 2 stacks in nether precision and and you just have the burden, right? You do a blast and then another blast into barrage with the GI. And then let's imagine you have no nether precision, then you just blast barrage. Or wait until the next nether precision and then blast barrage on that one. That's fine too. But the problem with that is that if you wait, there's a pretty high chance once you have like your tier gear that you're going to munch intuition. So probably once you get the tier gear, don't do that anymore. Just send it right away in that case. You just don't want to waste it. Like you wouldn't want to like you got an ad about that? Interesting. They're not like super far off. It's just that Sunfury specifically for Arcane is high up. Like Spellslinger and Frost are pretty close. Spellslinger Arcane and Spellslinger Frost. But yeah, Sunfury's just on the fucking moon. That's just kind of how it is. Current state of Fire. So Fire, in terms of like the gameplay itself, and like what it has is like the full package. Everything about it's great except for the damage, but that's kind of a problem, right? The damage isn't there. Everything else about it's good though. They just need to tune it up a little bit, and they just did tuning. Like they just tuned it up a little bit, so like they could definitely continue tuning that shit up, and it will be fallen. But yeah, it's the lowest simming of the mage specs. Not by a huge margin though. It used to be about like 10% behind. Now it's more like 7% behind. But yeah. It's just not quite there, you know? No, it's just an alt. Which guy really helped me to understand. Thank you a lot. There's a question I have about new burden change. Before nerf, we would not use missiles. We just talked about this, so don't do the whole saving missiles thing. Just send all your missiles unless you don't have like unless you already have like another position up or something. Don't save the missiles, and just use the GI from burden on your next available nether precision last stack. And if you don't have one, just send it. Like if you have intuition, that's the 4-piece. Because you wouldn't want to munch the 4-piece. So yeah, if you have like 2 stacks in their position, then in burdens up, you do like blast barrage. If you have burden up and 1 stack another precision, you would just do blast and barrage like you normally do. If you don't have anything, you know, you just blast barrage like you normally do. But until you get the tier piece, you could also save it for the next nether precision, but I don't think it's really worth it. Just play the way you're going to play with tier. Yo, that's just good. I'm eating this rice pudding with like cinnamon on top. Holy. Yeah, I'll be updating the guide. Where's the Wowhead stuff? I'm hearing news.
So you're asking, I see.
classes.
Oh,
yeah,
is Dracthyr up?
Dracthyr Warlock?
Do
they have like tail swipe and everything?
In the
Yeah.
20th
Yeah.
anniversary
Yeah,
hunt
I'll
update,
both
they'll
out.
be able to create yeah.
You have
so
both, and they're increased to a 3-minute cooldown. Tail
Damn, this
swipe
is
and
actually an evoker
when you
nerf.
buff it.
Good.
Because you
Aren't
have
they
to
still
have the
bis?
talent to... Oh wait, maybe not. Hold on, it's not the
They
talent.
buffed
Clobbering
your
sweeps.
talents.
Oh yeah, but you can only choose one. Oh, it's not a choice now anymore. Okay, never mind.
For me, Chill's not baseline. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So
Holy.
okay, it's probably neutral,
Wait,
but it kind of sucks still.
squadron? Holy!
Look at the squad.
That's kind of hard.
So, like,
when can
If you spend a point, you can have them both low. But if you don't spend a point,
You
then
can form up with 2 other
have
revokers
one for
and fly up
free.
in sync.
When is the update?
and one would be
I need a
short,
date.
You can
Don't
play
know,
a
man.
Dracthyr Warlock.
but one
that's
would still
about-
be long.
You can play. No, you can play.
It's
Dracthyr
probably, like,
Warlock, you can play
neutral.
Dracthyr Priest. I'm
Yeah,
just
it's
race changing
fine.
everything.
I would, just because you can fly. But,
I mean, it's still a nerf though. This is a minor
Dwarf is
nerf
better
to
damage.
Evoker,
Yeah.
I don't even care about the damage.
right?
You
Because
look
you
like
used to
a
be able to
fucking
have one
I
at
don't know. Have you seen the
1.5.
mastery, Neil? No, no.
yeah, I've simmed it before. It's not that good.
Yeah,
when
this is
this,
a
though?
Evoker
I
nerf.
don't know
I'm
when
pretty
the
sure.
20th anniversary is.
So like before, you could have one at
Go find
90
the
seconds
roadmap.
and one at
But you
45
need all the
seconds,
stops
right?
you need for M plus pushing, Neil.
Or you'd have them both at 90.
They gave Hunter stops. And I'm not going to be pushing, so.
Now, I
all
guess
good.
we'll write out the
All
cases. So
good.
45, 90, right? These are the 3 cases.
Double jump for free would be very nice, though.
Double jump is so nice.
Oh, we don't have glide.
No,
As other
you probably do
evokers?
get glide. You probably do.
Wait, do you
Is there-
not?
I don't see glide listed here.
Well, it's because glide is just built into the class, no? Or into the race.
No, it's
Isn't
it's part of
isn't- no,
Dracthyr.
I thought glide becomes
Yeah, I meant
the
it's, like, part
same
of the
ability
race.
as the double jump. After you've double jumped, it becomes glide. I thought.
So just to be clear, you can't double jump as Evoker. You just have a glide after your jump.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's gonna exist. There's no way they don't bring.
That's
that in.
the
You
only
have-
reason I want to play it, literally.
Yeah, I like the glide. Go quick.
Okay, so
You
I
here's
don't
the
even know if
3
you actually
cases,
go
right?
quick. It might be placebo.
So
but it
now
feels-
after it's gonna be so the first cases they're
Alchemy
3 minutes each,
tools.
right? So 180. So it would be 180, 180. Or let's say you have the talent on one of them because it says it's no longer a choice node position in the tree has changed. So now it will be down 2 minutes. So that'll be 60 seconds now. So it'd be 60, 180. Or you could go both of them, right? So I'll just write out the cases here, but the other one would be 180, 60. And then the last case would be 60, 60. But no matter what, if you're using both for different reasons, it's a nerf. But if you're not, it's the same. Right? So putting in one talent here, one talent spent, gets one
So
down
what's
to
going on with
45.
these
One
Ascendance
talent
forms,
spent
by the
puts
way?
one down to 45. Down here, we're getting extra
That,
talent. So one talent spent.
That's not it. In my humble opinion.
It's kind of, it's like a fair nerf
They look like
slash
Mad
buff,
Scientists.
but it's weird. I mean,
They
like,
look bad.
if you
Yeah.
combine these two, right? 45 seconds,
Very
90
bad.
seconds.
Oh,
You're at 135 total. Down here, you're at 120. So technically, this would be better if you wanted both of them down. But, like, you're not going to do that. And, like, the way better one in Mythic Plus is just Tail Swipe. And you used to be able to get that down to 45, and now you can do 60 at
I think
best.
there's
So,
probably,
like, to
four
me, this is
people
an
on Earth
Evoker
that
nerf.
will wanna use
But it's
them.
very minor. It doesn't matter. Like, I'm just saying, though.
People.
I'm pretty sure this is a nerf.
is it optional?
Does everyone understand what I'm getting at here? Do you guys agree, disagree?
Sure hope it is.
Interested
if
to
it
hear
looks
your
like
opinion
that.
on this.
If I were to play Shaman, I would rather use the old one.
Wowhead just like crashing my Chrome on repeat. Classic dungeon time walking might be the most UG thing of the 20th anniversary.
So it's 180 on this one, and then the next one's
What do you mean? You don't want to do like
Wailing
Temple
Cavern?
That's
of
120.
Car? Or Zul'Farrak? Surely they just do Scarlet Halls and Monastery and Scarlet Mant since they redid them in Moth.
All the moth ones.
Yep. So they're not complete ass.
No, I just know that you're gonna load in and it's gonna be like, okay, have fun in fucking DRD.
You see where I'm getting,
Anyways,
what I'm getting at here
I'll catch y'all later.
with this new shit?
Yeah.
Okay. No more about this. When did they say we can play it? Players can create a new Dracthyr with the 20th anniversary content update. The exposure to new races and their abilities in Dragon Isles has expanded the opportunities of growth among the Dracthyr. In the 20th anniversary celebration content update, players will be able to create a new Dracthyr. Shaman Ascendance form for each specialization? Oh, shit. Undertaking one of these new classes as Dracthyr will allow you to choose between fighting as a Dracthyr or fighting in Visage form by activating Visage. Oh, that's so fucking pog. Holy shit. So pog that you don't have to stay in Dracthyr form. Although it is sick to be in Dracthyr form. Yeah, it'll be a bit for this, by the way. Hold on, be right back.
Am I blind?
Probably.
Yep.
Oh, there it is. 11:05. That's so. Wait. Oh, so it's on the 0.5.
2 months.
It's not November. It's like at the 0.5 patch, whenever that is.
No, they're
Which
not live
might
now. It's
actually be
saying
2
it's
months.
with the event. Dracthyr players will also be able to learn a new skywriting talent called Squadron, in which
No.
what?
Yeah,
In
you can
which
stop after Prague.
up to 2 additional Dracthyr players can join you in flying formation as you soar. Dude, that is sick. Holy fuck. That's actually insanely sick. How did I miss this part? This is amazing. Yo, you can squad the fuck up. Yo, you see the part where you can squad the fuck up? That is insane.
Yeah.
That goes
bro.
so hard. Holy shit.
Me and the boys squatting up.
That goes insanely hard. That's what you said earlier. Yeah, I didn't. I thought you just meant like flying information, like just, you know, you're just like saying that, like, oh yeah, flying information, which is just something we can do, but just, you know, play in. But I didn't realize there was a goddamn mechanic for it. Sorry, I had to had a cough there. Let's see. Where's the WoW head post? Is there a WoW head post? Yeah, the article's live. You can take a gander. We got 55 points stocked up. That's a lot of points. We could instantly max a new one and the point after it, or we could max out like 2 of these. But I think we will just chill. Do you suggest sitting on Weathered Crest? No. Don't sit on those. Fucking send that shit. I have 90 right now. I'm about to send them. Do not sit on those. There's no reason to. Send everything. Look, 590, 590, 590, 590 across the board. 590s on everything. No. Listen, you're maybe seeing 2 different things and thinking they're the same thing. So crafting right now with Weathered Crest is not for sparks. Okay, these are 2 different kinds of crafts. If you're crafting with Weathered Crest, what you're doing is you're doing like one of these little pioneer ones. Okay, this doesn't take a spark. See, you can just add in the crest here. See? You just add in the crest, and it just goes up to 590. That's different than if you were to craft like a spark item, okay? So you want to save your spark item, but you can craft with your Weathered Crest, like, you know, 0 fucks given.
I will do my duty.
Which is awesome. Okay, so if I were to craft 490, it would take... What is this? This is 490, yeah. So it would take 30. So it's the same as crafting it with, like, the actual crafting system. Okay, so it's actually the same if I just upgrade it myself. We've got 90 crests available. So I already did the trinkets. The fire buff is like pretty small. It's only like a 2.5% buff. So it's like pretty irrelevant. But yeah, I might keep some of my crest here. But I'm probably going to send most of them. Let's see. So the cap next week will be 90 more, right? So in total, we're going to have 180. So if I were to use up all of these guys, it would be 30 on this one, 30, 60, 90. That's everything for this week. And then I have more for the trinkets. The trinkets will take 30, 60. Okay, that's fair. I think we just go 590 on all of it. Yeah, I'm a mechanome, but I'm I'm only a mechanome temporarily right now. Let's just be real about that. This is a temporary thing, yeah? I'm going to be a mechanome for Prague, and then as soon as Dracthyr is available, I'm fucking swapping. This has a socket on it too. That's kind of sick. Oh, I do recognize the scaly superiority. Don't you worry about that. Okay, hold on. Well, let's do a quick sim. I don't want to just send this shit natty. I want to actually think this through. So this is insanely awesome though. I didn't know there was this squadron thing. It'd be cool if you could get more people. So like a group of 5, like 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, like V formation. Could you imagine you're like out in world PvP and like 5 Dev Evokers fucking slam into you, or like 4 Dev Evokers and like 1 Pres Evoker, and you just roll up with the squad, dude? You just see them all fly into you all at once. Holy fuck. You're dead. You're actually insanely dead. Have y'all seen Dev in PvP? Have y'all played Dev in PvP? It's like borderline not okay. If this is out of your scope, please ignore. Creating enchanted, does it use 3-star mats? No. 1-star mats on enchanting. Because you're making the crest. The crest doesn't have quality, so you can just send rank 1 mats. Yes, EDM. I'm inside too. This is sick. Dude, the Mythic Plus squad's gonna be all dragons, baby. All dragons all day. Ah, dude, this is actually so hype. Okay, hold on. Let's go. I already got off track. I need to sim my character. Oh, I'm Frostspec. We need to change that. How many total could you have? Depends on your renown level. So it's the 270 cap plus whatever you got from renown. I'm gonna re-roll as soon as they let me. But it'll be after progression, I think, because it's in November. Yeah, wait, so the time walking was announced for the season 2 stuff? Or like tier 2 stuff? I saw they were teasing the tier 2. Oh, here it is. Yo, these look insane. What the fuck? I mean, they're the same as they used to. Oh, wait, there's a Dracthyr one. Oh, shit. They made a Dracthyr one. That's cool. I mean, you won't. Yeah, you'll look at it like this, right? This is what you'll actually see, but I mean, it still is kind of cool. Oh, they made a DK one too? And Demon Hunter? Monk? Damn. Yo, I like how these orbs looking. This is a sick ass Arcane set right here. This set looks good as fuck for Arcane. Wait, so how do you unlock these? Does it say? Okay, here's the anniversary post. Okay, so this is all... Oh, there's a video. Yo, let's watch the video. Okay, let me know if you can hear it.
The War Within is now live, and while
It's a
we
little
can't
soft.
wait
Hold
for
on, let's turn it up.
everyone to experience the upcoming endgame content, the train isn't stopping. Arriving on the PTR soon, the team will be testing a new anniversary event for World of Warcraft. Today we're here with Holly, Brett, and Leah to share
Oz, don't
more
be
on
weird.
what the live team has been cooking up. So Holly,
Yes.
let's talk anniversary.
Yeah, I mean, 20th anniversary for World of Warcraft, 30th for Warcraft, and 10th for Hearthstone. What an amazing journey, and to be leading into it this year. You know, our commitment to make the game feel alive every single day that you log in. All the work we're doing to kick off the World Soul Saga. So excited that War Within is launched.
Hey, I've been following your Wowhead guides for Arcane single target rotation, bit confused about spear tracking. Don't worry about spears anymore. The only thing that you need to track is burden, because if you have like one stack and another precision, then you would blast in the barrage, or GI, which comes from burden, and then in that case you would blast barrage, because you just want to double dip on the last and another precision. You don't really have to track the spheres anymore if you don't want to.
And everyone's in it now and part of this
Treat it
world
like
story.
intuition.
And we're going to see where it's going. We're not stopping. So anniversary is coming up, and we've got some good friends here to talk about what's coming.
With such a big milestone for the game, how did you approach this year's anniversary?
It's a great question. Last fall, even, I started to look into
Yo, Brett. Oh, I thought it said Brett cooking. I was like, yo, Brett's cooking.
what kind of event we wanted to do. We've had various events in the past. For the 15th, we did that really epic raid. So I did some ideas, and it really became a patch. We sat down, we did a huge brainstorm with the live team, and then we started to pick the top ones and see what we could do to cover all of our different player segments.
Yo,
So it
that
was a
looks
really
sick.
fun experience to like flesh out all these cool ideas.
What was at the top of that list?
By far the top one, everybody remembers.
Sheffins, LOL. Is it bugged? Why, if I throw barrage with brilliant power alone, it consumes GI? If I Q with bless, it doesn't? Wait, if I throw barrage with burden the power alone, it consumes GI? Wait, did they implement it incorrectly? I'll test it in a little bit. Let me watch this video.
Remembers Blackrock Depths really fondly.
Yeah.
And so we
Fondly
are.
is a word.
So yeah, everybody really wanted to do something with Blackrock Depths. And so as we looked at all of these features, we really wanted to make
Okay, we'll
them
test it.
new and innovative, but also harken back. So we are going to be bringing Blackrock Depths as a 10 to 15 player raid. We're really excited. We have 8 main
Wait, that's actually like okay for AoE though, I think, because then you wouldn't end up with 0 charges. It's weird that they implemented it that way though.
bosses.
Does it give you back your 4 charges? Like, so imagine you have burden power up and you're at 4 charges and you don't queue into it, you just cast barrage. Do you get 4 charges? Why the fuck am I asking this question? We need to get through this video.
5 mini bosses, and basically we'll have LFR, normal, and
Sorry, keep
heroic
getting distracted.
difficulties.
I remember Blackrock Devs, I was there with my hunter just farming that gladiator's chainmail over and over and
Yeah.
over again.
It was always random too,
yeah.
so you didn't have a chance
It's
to
fine,
listen.
it's fine,
It
it's my
took
fault.
forever, so I'm excited to go back in there and hopefully get my revenge.
I remember going there and dying. So, you know, if anyone wants to carry me in a heroic, just ring me up.
What other features are there going to be in the anniversary event?
Yeah, so we really wanted to do an outdoor experience to sort of revisit the Gates of Ancrage opening. And who better to take us on this adventure than Chromie?
Oh
We
no.
love Chromie.
So Chromie has this codex that she uses to safely display the past. And well, you can expect there's going to be some crazy time things happening with that. So we're going to have enemies popping up that should not be there within Silithus, like the Scourge, the Legion, Kiraji, and we're going to see some familiar names like Tichondrius, Assyrian, and
Tichondrius.
Kalsazad.
Ah, Calthasot again. Oh man.
Yeah, it's shaping up to be a really cool experience. Players will get to queue in whenever they want. They'll get put together with other players and get to go through this kind of epic fixing of the past.
Again.
Oh,
Again.
Yeah.
As Marie would say, timey-wimey. Speaking of the past, is there anything else that we'll be revisiting?
So we've heard the community loud and clear. We know that time walking is very popular. So the team has put together some incredible time walking dungeons.
And some of
walking
you may be
dungeons.
thinking BFA, but that's not quite yet.
Oh?
We're actually going back in time to fill in one of the areas that we have not hit yet, and that is the original
Hell
dungeon.
yeah.
So we're going to be bringing Dead Mines, Zul'Farrak.
The original Dead Mines. It's not even the new one. It's the original. Yo, that's sick, actually. And wait, Marden?
Dire Maul, and
Or, sorry, Dire Maul? Oh, shit.
Stratholme. So there'll be 2 Dire Maul wings and the 2 Stratholme
Yo!
wings. They'll be introduced with 20th. but
Okay,
they'll
it depends on what the rewards are, if, like, I'll be going in there. But I actually love these instances. I fucking love them. I have, like, a special place in my heart for all these instances, man. I played a lot of Classic back in the day. And I played it whenever it released again. Or I guess Vanilla. I played it in Vanilla. I played it in Classic. I solo leveled my mage in Zul'Farrak. That shit was amazing. Solo leveled in Dire Maul. That was also really fun. I actually like these instances a lot.
continue into the regular rotation afterward.
Like, I'm not capping. I fucking love these instances. I want to live in here.
A couple other things that we're going to change with time locking. We're going to allow players from 10 and up to do it. So a lot of those people that like to level will have more opportunity there. And then we're also realizing that a lot of people already have all of the items from the various vendors. So we are going to do a vendor refresh. And so you might see some new mounts and pets and transmogs.
Wait, is that a warbear, dude? They gotta be fucking trolling people. They gotta be fucking trolling people with this shit. Oh my god. Yo, this sounds good to me, though.
Up on each of the vendors as we go through the different time walkings going forward.
So I can go to Dire Maul, get loot and more loot and more loot.
Yeah, we're really excited for everybody to get a chance to go after the things they like. You know, if they enjoy doing the dungeon run or if they're looking for more of those old transmogs that haven't been available.
Yeah.
Is there still a chance for Baron Rivendare's charger to drop?
We may have a chance in time walking for that mount actually. Yes.
Oh shit.
I got that on my first kill, by the way.
Are you serious? You're that player?
That's
the
SMH.
only one I got first try.
That's so awesome.
Never admit it. If that's the case, just don't admit it.
my lucky one was the Headless Horseman's one.
Oh,
so
wow.
I got I
Whoa,
couldn't
Headless
get the
Horseman
charger,
first?
but I ended up with that one.
Okay, that's even crazier, honestly, because that's a seasonal event.
It took me years to get that one.
So when I think about WoW's anniversary event, I always think about the Caverns of
I've never gotten a mount on the first attempt. It's never happened for me, unless it was guaranteed.
Time and the party there. Is there any changes to the celebration?
Oh yeah, we have a lot of changes. So you're used to going into the Caverns of Time to sort of experience the anniversary. But you're gonna notice right away that everything is right at the entrance, right outside. And there's all kinds of activities there for people to do. We have a mini trial of style kind of event called Fashion Frenzy, where
Fashion
you're going
Frenzy.
to have like different themes to dress up to and vote on your favorite transmogs. We have a storyteller, Lorewalker Cho, is going to tell a few different stories, and you get to participate in the audience. We also have Mount Mania, which is a fun game where you're going to get to kind of show off your mount collection.
That's a perfect one for you.
Oh, that's cool.
I love mounts. I love showing off my mounts. I'm really excited for that. There's a lot of different things for you to just explore outside of the activities. We have an ice rink, so you're going to be able to just slide around into Neris. We have a pet corner where you're going to
Nice.
be able to turn into your pet. We have
Oh my God.
costumes. You can cosplay as heroes and villains from the past. You can run around and
Okay, Chadgar all the way.
like scream different voice lines at people, which is a lot of fun.
My favorite's Illidan. You can be like, you're not prepared. You can just stand and tell everybody they're not prepared.
We also have guest relations where you're going to be solving riddles.
Yeah, the dumb mudfish is Biss.
and clues and other things to help out the visitors within the Caverns of Time.
Oh, so like Secrets of Azeroth?
Yeah, it's like a
nice.
Secrets of Azeroth sequel, basically.
I love that.
Awesome.
I had so much fun with that. Is Korok's Revenge, the PvP brawl, coming back?
Yes, so Korax returns. We'll have that during the whole event. We actually moved the vendors to the new hub. We also have the 3 world bosses returning, the world dragons. Then we have Azurgos and Kazakh as well. Plus, we have 2 new gate crashers. Shaw of Anger is going to show up, and so is Archivon the Stonewatcher. They'll both be out in Tanaris as well, similar to where Doomwalker is.
With so many new activities this year, are there new rewards?
Of course. As we looked at the marquee reward for this event, we've come up with a cool riff on a Phoenix mount. So basically, Ashes of Valar was a really good one back in the day that we really thought was iconic.
Frost Phoenix.
And so we've iterated on it, and now we have this blue
That thing looks
Flame
sick.
Tempest mount. It's got
Yo, that's a sick looking mount. Oh my god. Yo, where's Natalie? Natalie Frost, where are you at? I'm posting this in Discord for you. At Natalie.
armor on it, and one of the cool things we were able to do is here at Blizzard we have service rewards. So as you're here a few years, you'll get a sword and a shield. So we use that as our basis to do the armor
birds.
on that mount. And we enjoyed it so much, and the artists, they actually spent one of their hackathons making our service rewards in the game. So you'll be able to collect.
Yo, that's free labor. Let's go!
Through the 20th, the sword, the shield, the crown that we have. We even have a ring toy that we're going to have players able to get.
It's kind of iconic to have
Okay, the ring is cool.
essentially a World of Warcraft team member transmog.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
We have to get suits of armor added as one of our rewards.
Yeah, 30 years, right? We haven't picked the 30-year service reward yet.
We also have a balloon toy, which is really cool. And my favorite is the baby Dreadlord pet.
Oh my god.
So I'm excited to go to the hub and become my baby Dreadlord pet and run around in the area as a...
With your little sword.
Oh yeah. One of our artists, Motts,
He's
able
got a
to
little
put together the sword like Kazakh has, but in baby form. So it's really cool that it fits really well.
It's like a...
What the fuck is baby form for a sword? Don't give swords to babies. I guess Dreadlord babies get swords. Only them. Only as a treat. They're good.
Butter knife. So cute. Are there any rewards for the Warcraft 30th anniversary?
Yeah, so we have some faction crests, which are going to be back pieces for each of the 4 Warcraft 3 factions, which is Orc,
Yeah, there's a Frost Owl. I have it.
Human, Night Elf, and Scourge. And
Oh,
these
that's
are going
cool.
to be coming in the November trading post.
Those look pretty cool. Yeah, I like them. I'm not really a fan of either of these races, but it's still cool. You could be like a rogue with like swords on your hip and then swords on your back, which is kind of neat. Or like a warrior with like, you know, 2 axes and then 2 more axes.
How will players get these cool rewards?
It's a great question. We are going to be introducing a new currency this year. Players will be able to collect it from our weekly quests that we'll have for each of our features. And then we also are
What's the price on this? So the balloon, okay, so the balloon chest is probably a one-time. This is a, okay, these prices are probably not final because a lot of these are basically free, but maybe the coins are hard to get. Because, yeah, these are all 20 each. I like the ring, Blizzard Bling. Fuck yeah. And then we got the exclusive Van Cleef. I actually have this one. Yeah, since it got brought up. Here, I'll click the link for you. Oh, wait, this is a different one. This is a different looking burb. Wait, when did this come out? I didn't even know about this one.
our features.
Older burb, yeah.
And then we also are making sure that if you're really into the Season 1 content, you can still do those weekly quests and the weekly activities to collect the tokens there as well. You're going to get
Well, it's still a +1 mount, right? You just get another mount.
a lot of tokens, and you'll need them because we do have one other big reward. As we started to think about this, we talked with our artists, and everybody really agreed we needed to really go iconic. And we looked back at our Tier 2 sets.
That is
so we
iconic.
ended up making all of...
Yo, look at how good the animation is on the mage orbs.
of the
Look at
tier
that
2
shit.
sets, modern, with
Subtle yet refined.
the new modeling, the new VFX. I can't wait to see people walking around in the Judgment armor.
What about the classes, though, that weren't available when Tier 2 came out?
That's a good point. You know, we didn't have monks back then, but we didn't have evokers back then. But we did have a dragon.
Demon Hunter not mentioned. L, get owned.
And they wore armor, and so we really looked at NPCs that were at that period of time. So Nefarian was our model for doing the evoker
Yeah,
set.
it does.
We looked at also like other
It does look very Nefarian.
iconic NPCs that existed back in the day, and so each of the new classes do have their own set. So
Yeah, they get theirs though. They still get theirs. Theirs is actually pretty cool. They did a pretty good job with the ones that like were not in at the time. Like you just are model off the boss, right? So like you can clearly see this looks like Nefarian.
our model for doing the evoker set. We looked at also like other iconic NPCs
Like this is obviously like a Lich King inspired set.
that existed back in the day, and so each of the new classes do have
This one's obviously an Illidan inspired set.
their own set. So all 13 classes will have a tier 2 up-res set.
I don't know what this one is inspired by, but it kind of looks like Lei Shen. To me, this is like a Lei Shen inspired set.
Speaking of classes, there's some cool changes coming.
Yes, I'm so excited for Dracthyr to finally get more classes. So
Yeah.
you can expect to see 6 new classes with them. We have Hunter,
Dude,
Rogue,
yes.
Priest, Mage, Warrior, and Warlock. And we're also getting a new skywriting talent,
Dude,
which is
it's
called
so cool.
Squadrons, where you're going to be able to have 2 Dracthyr companions flying alongside you in like a formation, which is so cool.
Oh my gosh.
Amazing.
Dracthyr gonna be like Top Gun.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Gotta reserve my goose name.
Everybody's gonna be reserving now.
Yeah, that's true.
Goose.
Is there any other class changes coming?
Yes, we've heard loud and clear from the shamans that they are ready for something new, and we are ready to deliver. We have brand new Ascendance forms. They
Yo, that's cool.
really are cool looking. They match each of the elements that shamans use.
They look amazing.
They really do.
This update sounds so amazing. Before we go, is there any other additional details we should tell players?
Yes, one of the things we really want to call out is in the past, these events have been 3 to 4 weeks around the anniversary, but this time, this is the patch. The entire 11.05 patch is really
Oh,
dedicated
shit.
to the 20th anniversary. It'll go for more than 2 months. We have a lot of time for everybody to get into the
Yo, wait, hold on. Did you see those outfits? Those are new. Those Murloc
months.
onesies.
We have a lot of
These are like a new model of the Murloc onesie.
time for everybody to get into these features, experience them, play as much as they want, and work towards those 13 sets.
Yeah, and even though we just launched the War Within, this PTR is coming very, very soon. So keep a lookout for the news on when that's coming to you.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk about the 20th anniversary with me. And I can't wait to celebrate the 20th anniversary with you in game. See you next time.
Yo, okay, so I guess we have to wait until 11.0.5 to get Dracthyr, but so the big question that they didn't answer in all this, and I was hoping the video would give me an answer, but it did not. The big question is, do we get Glide as a mage? Now, here's my interpretation of it. What they're talking about here is the changes, right? So they're saying Dracthyr will continue to be Dracthyr form, yada, yada, yada. And then they said, we are making some further adjustments to their racials. This isn't an inclusive, or like an all-inclusive list of their racials. This is just what's changing about their racials. They didn't mention Mastery. They didn't mention Glide. Like those, to me, probably it means that they're included. And really, the only thing that I care about, well, not the only thing, but the main thing I care about in terms of gameplay is Glide. Mage with Glide, fucking chef kiss, okay? That's what I want more than anything else. I want all my characters to have Glide. Okay? The Glide, if I have Glide, I'm a happy boy. So my Hunter is going to be a Dracthyr. My Mage is going to be a Dracthyr. I can't be a Paladin Dracthyr, unfortunately, but I would be one if I could. And it's because I have Glide on all those classes. I might have to just swap to only characters that can be Dracthyr. So like Hunter, Priest. Oh, do I really want to make a Warlock? I don't know. Maybe Warrior. I feel like of the available ones here, maybe Warrior is the one that's calling the most out to me. Yeah, I think so. The assumption for me, the baseline assumption is that Glide is included because they did not mention that you don't get Glide. They did not mention that you don't get Glide, and they said We're making further adjustments to their racial. So this is the stuff that's changing. Everything else should be assumed to be the same. Right? So like Soar should be the same. Glide should be the same. The Mastery buff should be the same. Anything that's already part of the Dracthyr racial should just like remain the same. So that's all of these, right? Glide should be the same. Visage form, same deal, right? Only they said that you could keep your chosen identity in combat. Awaken should be the same. Perception, the same. Familiar skies, all the same. So that's insanely pog. Okay, let's check this burden thing out. I'm just gonna get burden here and see what happens.
That item is still recharging.
Okay. So that was normal. That's normal. It instantly gave me back 4. See that? So that's actually sick for AoE. That means that the issue that I was worried about is actually not there. Because if you have it here, and then let's say I wanted to AoE and I wanted to use Burden on Barrage, right? If I Barrage, I'm back up to 4. That's awesome. That's great. That literally, this is like the okay, this is not the implementation that they said they would do. But for AoE, this is actually really fucking nice. Now the question is does it work like this? Hold on, we need to do one more test. Okay, so I have Burden up, right? I'm gonna do a Blast and then Blast Barrage here. Okay, that's fine. There's one last case. You can't Q Barrage. Okay, yeah, we'll try that. So you're saying doing it like this. That worked. What do you mean it doesn't refund? I just did it. Or do you mean on GI? On 5 stacks. Oh, okay. On 5 stacks to... Well, wait. You'd only do that if you had intuition though, right? The blast should get the damage bonus from 5 stacks. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out why you would do that. Maybe from maybe if you have like intuition up, right? So let's say I have intuition right here. I did a blast and a barrage. I mean, that's exactly as expected, right? That to me is not weird. And now we're back up to 4. I think this to me feels strictly better. But I'd have to have intuition to tell you completely. Because with intuition, let's say I have intuition at 5. Hold on, let's go into fucking... So with our tier bonus, right? That would be the case where I'd be concerned about this. It is weird that they didn't give us the implementation that we were expecting, but honestly, I'm okay with this. Yeah, intuition is the 4-piece. That's what we're talking about. Oh, my beta's not working. I mean, this... Okay, so, like, it's different than expected, but to me, this feels just better. Why would this be worse? Yeah, it's weird, but, like, why would this be worse? Yeah, it's confusing for sure. I mean, they changed the spell, though. I think what happened is they realized, like, based on our feedback, that, like, if they did it the current way, it would make AoE kind of awkward. right? So you just end up with just having burden then. It's definitely more confusing than, I mean, I wish they would have just kept it the way it was for sure, but I'm just saying, like, I'm not like upset with this. This is fine to me. Right? I think this implementation makes sense. This feels strictly better to me. It's weird because you're used to it being dog shit. I'm not saying that I like this change. I still am not really sure why the fuck they did this change in the first place, but for all the outcomes we could have had, to me, this is probably one of the better outcomes. Yeah, it didn't eat the bop. No, I get what you're saying. It's because you want it to basically generate the bop and then use the burden of power with like the barrage, which like that makes sense. I get that, but it works the way intuition did, which is like if you had intuition proc and then you would blast into barrage on 5th stack, you would have burden afterwards. That's actually consistent with how it was working before with intuition. The spell is different in other ways, but that part is consistent. Yeah, so like in single target, like basically what's happening is you would just use your burden normally, and then you would just pay attention to the GI afterwards for like whatever it is that you're doing next. So like I'll just hit this guy real quick. See, like this, and queuing it on the second one. See that? So I did one extra blast there, so it's a little less mana efficient. And here you would blast in the barrage, right? So here I do a blast barrage, right? Because I'm double dipping on the nether precision. And here I would do the same thing as before. So like if you have, it's all just about nether precision stacks. If you have 2 nether precision, then you would do blast and then blast barrage. If you have 1 nether precision proc with burden up, then you just do blast and the barrage like you did before. And then in AoE, it's really nice that they made it so that like if we have our burden up and we just spin it on barrage, so like let's say I'm right here and I use my missiles, and then now I'm with burden and nether precision. If I just do a barrage, it keeps me at 4. That's very nice. Used to be there's an extra step there, but now it's 1 step. That's just better for AoE. That's good. This is better than expected. I'm actually very pleasantly surprised with this. I'm not happy that they changed it, but if they're gonna change it, at least they like thought about it. So that was smart. Blizzard actually did something good with their bad decision. Yeah, there'll be a new guide. There'll be a new guide. My strategy for the next guide is I'm going to break it down to 3 parts. The first part is like literally here's the basics of Arcane. No Sunfury included, okay? Just normal Arcane. Okay, you're blasting, you're using missiles. All right, and then the next tier up is like, okay, here's the basics of normal Arcane plus Sunfury. And then we're adding in Burden of Power to that. And then the next step is, here's the basics of Sunfury Arcane with the 4-piece bonus. And then also, here's the AoE version. That way, it should be super, super impossible for you to be confused, because you could just, if you're confused, you just go back a level, right? You go down a level, and you get the mastery of the first level, and then you move back up, and then you should have an understanding of it. So yeah, if you want the UI, it's !UI for that. Is it safe to upgrade trinkets? I mean, you can probably spend all your crests. Yeah, it's probably fine to spend all your crests. Not your good crests, just the weather crests. Okay, here, let me just give you the cliff notes, all right? So if I was to explain the basics of Arcane, I would say this. Hold on, let me get the chat in here too. We can actually just do like double duty right now. We're gonna double dip. All right, yes, get ready for the YouTube voice. The YouTube voice is coming. Hold on, I gotta make this pin to the top. 1 second. All right, yes. We're about to double dip. The last two guides were you're a mage, Harry? Is that what you think? You're a mage, Harry. Okay, yeah. So the basics of Arcane, right? The basics of Arcane. So Arcane as a talent build, the first thing you need to understand is what you're having in terms of your resources. Every spec, it's important to understand your resources. Hold on. How do I make this not shit? Oh, you just can't. Okay, it's just always shit. Got it. Okay, yeah. So Arcane Mage has two main resources. You're going to see this indicated on my UI. So at the bottom, we have the mana bar. Every mage has mana, but for Arcane, it's actually way more important. The way that you spend mana primarily is through Arcane Blasting. So like Arcane Blast will consume a lot of mana. And notice how it revs up whenever you get charges. That's your second resource. So basically, whenever you have Arcane charges, which you can have 4 of, think of them like combo points. Once you have your 4 Arcane charges, the cast time is reduced on Arcane Blast. And the mana cost is increased. See how it takes more mana whenever I cast Arcane Blast here? It's going to consume more mana, and also it's going to be faster, and it's going to deal a ton more damage. So each Arcane charge is basically boosting my damage on Arcane Blast. You can see that in the tooltip for it. It says each one is going to increase my damage by 86%. It's a baseline amount plus whatever your mastery is. So in my case, I have 26% mastery, so you can read it in the tooltip. It says Arcane charges increase the damage of your next Arcane Blast by additional 27%, Arcane Barrage by 18%, right? And that's going to be wrapped in with the tooltip for Arcane Blast as well. So like if we go over to Arcane Blast, see in the tooltip, it says 86 here. So there's like a baseline amount that's being added on top. So because I have it says 27% here, it's actually rounding up to 28. So it's actually 60 plus whatever your mastery is. So essentially Arcane Blast, as you gain Arcane charges, is going to deal more damage. That amount is going to be based on your mastery, but also a baseline amount of 60. And it's also going to consume more mana, and it's going to be faster cast time. So that's one way that your Arcane charges is being impacted. You generate Arcane charges in a lot of different ways, but one of the ways is through Arcane Blast. So the way that you spend the Arcane charges, we'll get back to how you can also generate them too, but the way you spend them is through Arcane Barrage. So this is your spender. It doesn't cost mana. Okay, so this is a free spell. It actually gives you back mana. So the first resource we talked about, which was mana, was a resource that we primarily spend through Arcane Blasting, but we get it back through Arcane Barraging and also just by getting our mana back in other ways, right? But Arcane Barrage consumes the charges. This is how we spend our combo points, our Arcane charges. And the damage on this thing is going to also be increased depending on how many charges we have. And it can also cleave other targets. So we have talents that will actually impact Arcane Barrage based on the amount of charges we have. So Arcane Cleave will give us additional targets whenever we have those charges. So if I have 4 charges, it's 5 targets, right? I'm hitting 5 targets for a portion of the damage. And then we have talents like Resonance, which will increase the damage done of every Arcane Barrage depending on how many targets there are. So this is our funnel. Because if we have more targets, then we're going to hit the primary target 40% harder, up to 40%, because it would be 50% increase in single targets, 10%. So this would then be 50 instead of 10. So it's a 40% increase. There's other stuff too. So like we have like Orb Barrage. Whenever we have Arcane charges and we spend them, there's X selected TV. Thank you for the Twitch Prime. But yeah, basically the amount of charges we have is going to impact how hard our Arcane Barrage hits a lot. It's going to hit way harder with more charges, and it's going to hit more enemies because of Arcane Cleaving if we have this talent, which we only take if there's more than one target. Otherwise, we would take Consortium Bubble. And then we have Resonance, which is also increasing the damage of all of them. And this is, in a way, it's like funnel, right? Because more targets means that we're going to hit the primary target for harder as well. And then there's other components too, right? We've also got our orb barrage. We have a chance per arcane charge whenever we barrage to basically get a refund. We're going to shoot out an arcane orb. The other generator that we haven't talked about yet is arcane orb. So arcane orb, whenever we use it, we're going to get 1 arcane charge instantly. And then we're also getting charges per target hit. So this can easily give you back all 4 charges, right? All we need to do is have 3 enemies. And if we use an orb, it's going to instantly give us back the charges. So with this talent, whenever we use our barrage, there's a chance that we'll get refunded those charges, right? They'll just come back to us because we'll shoot out an orb for free, as long as you hit the target with the orb that you're trying to hit. And there's other stuff too, but I'm not going to get into too much into the weeds here. But essentially the idea is you're generating charges with blast or orb or through other means. You're spending charges with barrage. Now, the other big thing that you need to think about, almost like a resource, but not quite, is Nether Precision. This is the talent that has the biggest impact. Yo, Nova1 Gaming, thank you for the Twitch Prime. Appreciate you. Thanks for letting me be your Prime guy. So you can play Flame Strike or Ignite. They did buff Flame Strike more than they buff Pyroblast, but Flame Strike would be better if there's like way more targets. The problem with Flame Strike is that you lose a lot of single target whenever you go those talents. But it's actually not too bad compared to how it was before. So yeah, with Orb Barrage, if I have, oh, well, I need to spec into it first for me to actually be able to show it off, but we'll do that real quick. So yeah, if I have Orb Barrage talented here, whenever I press my barrage, so like I have 4 charges here, I'm just gonna barrage here. Notice how I shout the orb and it just instantly refilled my charges? That's the idea with this. Whenever you press your barrage, there's a chance you're gonna get it back. It's a 40% chance here because I have 4 charges. So notice how those first 2 gave it, but the third one did not, right? So that is just an RNG thing. And you'll notice in my UI, I have like a cha-ching sound whenever this happens because I want to be able to react instantly. If I hear the orb go out with the cha-ching, I know that I'm going to have 4 charges if there's 3 targets present, right? So that immediately alerts me that I can just, you know, go back into it. That's the reason why you'll hear my UI going cha-ching whenever I do the barrage. If that happens, that I know I got a proc, and that is great because that means I just immediately refunded my charges. So the biggest thing that you're going to lose damage as Arcane with is being stuck without charges. So obviously we talked about how Arcane Blast, whenever we use it, gives us charges, but it's actually a really inefficient way to get them. So like if I'm using Arcane Blast at like 0 charges, this is really bad. Like that Arcane Blast isn't going to really do damage, and it could give me 2 if I proc, but it's just going to give me 1 charge there. So that's not very good. What's much better to do is to have an Arcane Orb available, right? So like basically what you're trying to do as Arcane is you're trying to maintain your 4 charges as much as you can. So in a situation where I want to press barrage because I want to get the AoE damage out, I'm going to have to think about, am I able to do that while also getting right back up to 4 charges? Do I have a way to get my charges back up? Do I have an Arcane Orb? Do I have something else that will give me charges easily? So the other way that's easy to get Arcane charges with is this talent right here, High Voltage. This allows us to get Arcane charges through missiles. So if I have this talent, which is really great for AoE, I can also get charges from my missiles, and especially if I get the Aether Attunement buff. The Aether Attunement buff is every 3 clear casts I spend, I get like a Giga Missile that's going to AoE. It's basically going to instantly refill my charges, and it's going to give me a ton of damage with Harmony and does a bunch of other great stuff. But yeah, what I'm thinking about is like, okay, is there an easy way for me to get back up to 4? If I am stuck at 0 after I use my barrage and I have no way to easily get back up to 4, that's really bad. I want to be able to basically sit on 4. So I don't want to cash out. Even if there is a chance that I get it refunded, I don't want to cash out because then I might just be stuck at 0 charges, and that's going to be really, really bad if that happens. It's going to kill my damage. One thing you can do to help that situation, by the way, is taking out Dematerialize or another low impact talent and putting it into Charged Orb, because this talent gives us 2 Arcane Orbs. This will be less damage, but it's better quality of life because now I have 2 orbs to look at to make sure that I have the way to get right back up to full charges. You need 4 targets. The free orb does not give a charge like the button, by the way. Yeah. But yeah, so just to show it again with Orb Barrage. So if I have 4 targets here, and I use a barrage and I get the cha-ching. So if I get the return on it, it's going to give me the orb proc. Notice how I didn't get it there. But we're just going to go ahead and just get 4 charges again. And I got it that time, right? So since I have 4 charges here, 4 targets getting hit by the orb, since I'm not casting it, that's going to give me 4 charges back. So for orb barrage, you're going to need 4 targets in order to get up to 4 charges. With just spending the arcane orb naturally, you only need 3. So just keep that in mind. You need to have a way to get like that last charge. But it's not a huge deal if you don't, because you could just, you know, if let's say I'm at a 3 target situation and I'm only at 3, I could just use a blast into the barrage and that would hit 4. Blast is like not too bad to cast as long as you're above like 2 charges. But if you're below 2 charges, that's not really good. The difference between single target and AoE? Yeah. We're getting there. You got to be patient. So we talked about the 2 resources. We talked about arcane charges and mana. Let's talk more about the secret resource, or like let's talk more about the most important talent here, because this thing is almost a resource in terms of how important it is. So Nether Precision is something that you actually do need to track. It's really, really important that you play around Nether Precision. No other talent in the tree makes more of an impact on your rotation than this talent. And this talent right here is one of the main reasons why we use arcane missiles. So basically, whenever we use our missiles, whenever we consume our clear casting, that's going to give us 2 stacks of this buff that make our next 2 arcane blast or arcane barrage hit 20% harder. It's important to note that it actually allows for double dipping on the last charge of this. So if I'm at 2 Nether Precision and I spend 1 on the arcane blast and then I do a blast into barrage on the second, I queue a barrage from the blast. So both are going off at the same time. I can basically get 2 uses out of a single buff. That's what the double dipping part is. And it still works for Nether Precision. And it's very important that you understand this, because it's going to be core to the other stuff that we'll talk about later for Sunfury. But just know that you need to track Nether Precision, and you need to basically activate it if you don't have it up. If you have a missile proc, which is the Parenthesis, like you have like this Parenthesis here, this Weakor also is available on my in the links if you want it. But whenever you have this available, like if I press a missile, it's going to give me Nether Precision. See how I have 2 buffs of this? So that will allow me to, on my next 2 casts, to get more damage. So like if I were to Arcane Blast here, just ignore the charges. But if I were to Arcane Blast in the barrage on that last one, I would double dip on that charge. So yeah, now that we've talked about that, the basics of the rotation in single target is going to look something like this. And this is without playing around Sunfury. So I'm just going to talent out of all this stuff. Can I just turn this off here? I can't take these talents out. That's annoying. Switch to Spellslinger. Okay. Yeah, that works. I can't press the apply button though. I think I still... maybe it worked. No, I still have spheres. Okay, so I've swapped over the Spellslinger just because I want to only talk about the core parts of this before we talk about the Sunfury stuff. So that's why I'm Spellslinger here, just to show off like the main ideas of the rotation. So once I'm at 4 charges, so I'm just going to get up to 4 here. Once I'm at 4 charges, the idea is I just want to blast, and then if I have a missile proc, I'm going to use it, right? So missiles is up here, I'll missiles, and then I'll just do 2 blasts, right? And I'm just alternating between using missiles and blasts. So I'm just blasting if I don't have missiles to cast, and if I do, then I'll do the missiles, and I'll do 2 blasts, right? That's the basics of it. If you want to just get the basics down, that's it. You're literally just doing 2 blasts into the missiles. And you do have mana to worry about, so like you eventually will run out of mana, but there are ways that you're going to keep your mana up that we'll talk about in just a little bit. Generally speaking though, like if I run out of mana, so I'm just going to keep going here. If I'm in the situation where I can't cast like more spells, then what I would do is I would just barrage, right? And once you have 0 charges, the best thing that you'd want to do... Guys, hold on, stop. stop. I'm going in order here. So you're saying clipping and stuff like that? Stop. We're talking about the basics here, okay? We'll get to that later. We need to break it down, all right? It needs to be the most simple, and then we're going to move it up as we go, okay? This is level 1. We're not talking about clipping missiles. We're not talking about brilliant power. We're not talking about any of the advanced stuff here, okay? We're literally just talking about the basics of the basics, okay? We're not introducing that shit yet. We will get there. We will get there. I promise you we'll get there. Okay. Starting over. So, by the way, the reason why I'm trying to do this sequentially so I can take this VOD and I can put it on YouTube. That's why I'm doing it the super basic. Sorry, Killswitch. I didn't mean to like come off like I'm fucking scolding you. It's just we got to keep it simple first. We got to keep it simple. Okay, so we'll get there though. We'll get there. So the basics, right? So the basics of this, you're trying to just basically use Arcane Blasts if you have those available. Okay, and whenever you have the missiles available, you're going to use that if you don't have Nether Precision. So here I don't have Nether Precision, so I'll let the missiles go. And now I'm blasting. Right, and then I have missiles again, so I'll use the missiles, and I'm blasting again. 1, 2, right? And we have the missiles, so we'll use the missiles, and then 1, 2. Same as before. And we're just going to keep Arcane Blasting until we get the missiles. We get the missiles. Okay, we send those. We have the 2 charges, so now we go 1, 2. Right, so this is very simple. You're literally just casting either Arcane Blast or Arcane Missiles, but you are going to run out of mana eventually. So notice here, I'm about to run out of mana. In this case, I have 1 Arcane Blast I can use, but then I need to use a Barrage. Right, now I'm at 0 charges. So typically what you do here is you would Orb to get those charges back, and then you just go back into it. And you're just going to try to basically not run out of mana. Now, whenever you're playing naturally, you will have you'll use your cooldowns too, and the cooldowns will help you keep your mana up. Right, so this is not how it's actually going to be, but just be aware, like, there is a situation where you will run out of mana. You want to make sure that you don't have instances where you're not casting spells, where you're just idling, right? Like, you don't want to be idling as a caster. You want to always be casting ABC. So that's why if you don't have the mana to cast a blast, then you need to instead cast a barrage. And then after that, you have 0 charges, so you need to have a way to get back, right? So that would be like Arcane Orb in that case. But that is the basics of Arcane. This is the level 1 foundational stuff. No cooldowns, no clipping missiles, no brilliant power, none of that stuff. It's just Arcane Blasts and using missiles to get Nether Precision and then spending the Nether Precision stacks. Okay, we put a bookend on that. Now let's take it up to the next level. All right, so the next level is Sunfury. And we're going to talk about clipping too. Okay. So now that we've talked about the basics of Arcane, let's talk about how Sunfury impacts this and things that you might change in the rotation and also the cooldowns that you're going to be using. So I want to start off by just explaining what Sunfury changes for Arcane. The biggest thing here is that we're going to be getting a buff that basically gives us increased damage on our next cast of Arcane Blast or Arcane Barrage. And we have another buff that's going to be giving us 4 charges after we do that. So it basically refunds our charges if we Arcane Barrage. So this basically gives us a lot of free mana, because anytime we are consuming Glorious Incandescence with the Arcane Barrage, we are getting back our 4 charges, and we're getting the mana from it, and we're also getting the meteorites from it. So this is going to be one of the ways that your mana bar doesn't run empty. Now, there are other things in Sunfury to talk about too. Obviously, we've got some like passive buffs. We've got the bird that's going to come out and deal damage. We've got other impacts here, but I don't want to get too much into the weeds on these. I just want to mention one thing. We do have Arcane Soul. We're going to talk about Arcane Soul in the part 3 of this at the level 3. But for now, just know that Arcane Soul is the thing that pops up whenever you have a little purple icon on your screen. And it's always after your Arcane Surge. We'll talk about how to play around Arcane Surge in just a little bit, or we'll talk about how to play around Arcane Soul in just a little bit. But for now, just know that there is a buff that you get that basically gives you free barrages. Like, you can just mash barrage. Yeah, so Burden of Power. The way that we get Burden of Power is by just casting Arcane Blast and Arcane Barrages. So whenever we generate a sphere, you'll notice on my head, I've got a little orb above my head right now. This is one of the spheres. These ones are the buff that you'll see here. This is just bird food. It gives us damage. It's not really something that we need to worry about too much. It does have some impacts, but it doesn't really matter a whole lot. And you also get them back out of combat, but it takes a little bit of a while for them to come back. That's not the one we actually care about. The one we care about is the one that we get that works towards getting one of those. So you notice it on my UI, it's this little buff right here. Looks like a little Frostfire emblem. This guy, Spellfire Spheres, plural. Very important distinction. This one is Spellfire Sphere, singular. This is the one we don't care to track. This one is Spheres, plural. This is the one we actually do care about tracking, okay? So once we max this thing out, it's going to go up to 5. What's going to happen is we'll be at a point where our next one will give us Burden. So right here, I'm going to cast Arcane Blast. This will give me Burden of Power. See that? That's this glowing orange buff. So on my next Arcane Blast, if I use that, I'm going to have a follow-up buff. It deals more damage, and now I have a follow-up. It's called Glorious Incandescence. So notice here, we have Glorious Incandescence. Your next Arcane Barrage calls down the storm of meteors on its target. It doesn't mention the refund, but if I cast Blast into Barrage here... Oh, I think the buff actually fell off as I was doing that. I was yapping too hard. Okay, so here we have Burden of Power. So if I have Burden of Power available and I do like an Arcane Blast, that's going to bring me to Glorious Incandescence here. And if I do a Blast into Barrage, I double dipped on that Nether Precision. So that Nether Precision, even though I had 1 charge of it left, I got 2 spells off with the damage increase. And I also consumed Glorious Incandescence, which gave me back to 4 charges. That Barrage also with AoE, it could potentially proc Arcane, it could also potentially proc Orb Barrage, and also, obviously, the biggest thing is just my mana bar is steadily keeping itself up just because I am spending the mana. So now we need to put the 2 thoughts together, right? We have Nether Precision, now we have the Burden of Power interaction. So basically with your Clearcast, you just want to send them right away. And then anytime you have a situation where you're at 1 Nether Precision and you've got Burden of Power, you just queue a Barrage from the Blast. That will instantly use the Burden of Power on the Blast. It will instantly consume the Glorious Incandescence on the Barrage. And you'll be back at 4 charges, and you're going to have 2 Spellfire Spheres after you do that. Now, if I'm just blasting, obviously, anytime I get missiles, I'm just going to send that shit right away if I don't have Nether Precision up. So like right here, I have missiles. And I have Burden of Power. So in this case, I'm actually going to do a Blast into a Blast Barrage because I want to double dip on this Nether Precision. This is the change that they made to Burden of Power where it doesn't double dip. Since Burden of Power no longer double dips with Arcane Barrage, I want to just use that Glorious Incandescence to double dip on Nether Precision instead. Okay, that's one of the biggest changes here in single target. All right, so, but otherwise you're just, you're just blasting away. And then whenever you have a situation like this, right? Well, obviously if we have the 1, I messed up the queuing there. But if we are in a situation where we have 1 Nether Precision buff and we have Burden of Power, then we would just go ahead and double dip. In this case, I'll just cast the Blast and then I'll Barrage here. So that was without Nether Precision. I wasn't able to react to the missile in time. But if we have Burden of Power, then we can queue the Barrage from the Blast with Burden, or we can just hope that we get the missiles from the other one. But okay, let's redo this part. So yeah, anytime we have the missiles proc, we're going to go and use it. And then if we have Burden without Nether Precision, we can just queue the Barrage from the Blast. If we get the missiles proc and we can react in time, then we can missiles first. But like, so here I have 2 Nether Precision, so I'm going to Blast into Blast Barrage because Burden's up. Here we don't have any Burden, so we're just blasting this twice, right? And then we're just continuing blasting until we get the missiles. We get the missiles here. Now I have only 1 charge, so I'm going to Blast into Blast Barrage to double dip on Nether Precision. Here we have the Burden up, and we don't have Nether Precision up. This is the 3rd case. In this case, I just Blast into Barrage. So those are the 3 cases that you'll find with Burden of Power. And it just depends on the state of your Nether Precision buffs. If we have no Nether Precision, then we just do a Blast into Barrage. If we have Nether Precision in 2 stacks, then we do 2 blasts and then a Barrage. If we have 1 stack of Nether Precision Burden is up, then we do a Blast into Barrage. The same as the case where we didn't have Nether Precision. You treat it the same way that you would treat your 4-piece bonus. We haven't talked about the tier bonus yet, but once you get your 4-piece bonus, basically just think of the 4-piece bonus, which is called Intuition, that buff. Think of that buff as the exact same thing as Glorious Incandescence. It's not quite the same thing, but think of it that way because you're going to play around it the same way. Okay. Now, you probably notice whenever I'm just going to town on my rotation that sometimes I let my missiles fully channel and sometimes I don't. So the logic here is if I have Aether Attunement, I let my missiles fully channel. And if I don't have Aether Attunement, then I'm going to clip them. So right here, I'm going to queue the next spell before the missiles finishes. Right? That's what I mean by clipping them. And if I have Aether Attunement, then obviously I'm not going to do that because I want my missiles to channel more. It's going to increase the damage on the missiles. Also, they will AoE, as you can see here, right? So that's why we are doing that. We want to clip all missiles that aren't Aether Attunement buffed. That's the buff we get every 3 missiles. And if it has Aether Attunement, then we don't clip it. So essentially, just treat missiles, if you just have it without Aether Attunement, treat it as a GCD. Treat it like GCD and just queue up your next spell instantly. No. AoE is going to be the final part of this. Okay, so now that we've talked about how to play around Burden of Power, Glorious Incandescence, and how to clip your missiles and win, let's talk about how to actually use your cooldowns. So this will be step 3, okay? Cooldown usage, step 3. So the opener is going to be very specific, and it actually depends on what your talents are. All right, so if I have high voltage, I will do a slightly different opener. But let's assume that you're doing single target here, or maybe even like just 2 target where you've got or barrage. So we're going to assume 2 targets here. The best case will be missile and burden before we use 5 spheres. Yeah, because then you could missile into blast barrage. But it's not like the best case. It's just one of the cases. It's just the easiest to understand, I think. It's not necessarily like the best case. It's just easy to wrap your mind around. Okay, so let's talk about how we would do our opener in kind of like a more single target oriented scenario. So this is a situation where we do not have high voltage. High voltage is the talent we would only really take if there's like a lot of targets. So we're assuming that it's not a lot of AoE, so we're not going to take high voltage. We're not going to show that opener. Here's what it would look like if you do not have high voltage. So the first thing you're going to do is before combat, you're going to apply your mage shield, because that way you'll take less damage from the first damage event. And you're also going to summon the homies with mirror image. Okay, so if you press mirror image, you get little guys out, and they help you kind of manage your aggro. They make you take less damage. As a mechanome, I have 2 sets of them I can get out. You don't necessarily have to do that. I just did it for fun. But notice how we're all squatted up, right? We got all the mechanomes here ready to go. So whenever the pull is about to start, what you're going to do is use your evocation, and you're going to let that fully channel. Okay? And the next thing you're going to do is use a missile, and you're going to clip it with an Arcane Surge into Touch of the Magi. And then you just start doing the normal rotation we talked about here. So because I have Aether Attunement, I'll let this fully channel. And then we're going to be blasting afterwards. And then this one I'll clip because I don't have Aether Attunement. We're blasting afterwards. And then this one I'm going to do a blast into blast barrage, right? Because we want to double dip on the nether precision. Here, I'll let this fully channel. And then now we have Arcane Soul. So we haven't talked about Arcane Soul yet, but Arcane Soul is basically a little window that we get at the end of our cooldowns. So our Arcane Soul is part of the Memory of Alar talent on Sunfury. Basically, whenever we complete our Arcane Surge, whenever our Arcane Surge goes away, we're going to get a buff. The duration of the buff depends on how many spheres we had whenever we entered it. So sometimes it'll be shorter, sometimes it'll be longer. But the idea is that whenever Arcane Soul is up, you can just cast Barrage freely. Every time you cast it, it's going to give you a clear casting, and it's also going to generate 4 charges. So there's pretty much just one goal here with Arcane Soul. We want to exit Arcane Soul with 3 charges of clear casting, okay? So with the reduced duration on it, since they've nerfed this talent, what we pretty much want to do is just spam Barrage. The first thing you want to do as soon as Arcane Soul is available is just mash Barrage until you're at 3 charges of clear casting. Once you have 3 charges of clear casting, that's when you can start making other decisions, but the first goal is just get to 3, okay? Because we want to use this to generate clear casting. Now, obviously in AoE, there could be cases where you want to use maybe Nether Precision Arcane Barrages, right? So maybe you have a Nether Precision up, you go into it, Arcane Soul activates, and then you barrage twice, and you do a missiles, and then 2 more barrages. It really just depends on how much time you have into Arcane Soul, but just try to have the last global of Arcane Soul be an Arcane Barrage. That way you end it, leaving it basically with 3 charges of clear casting. The only other thing we do in Arcane Soul other than barrage is going to be sometimes we'll missile. So if I am at 3 stacks of clear casting inside of Arcane Soul, I'm going to use a missile, and then I'm going to barrage afterwards. But really the goal here is just, again, we want to exit Arcane Soul with 3 charges of clear casting. So it could just be as simple as you just mash barrage during Arcane Soul. It could also be if you have like a lot of haste or the duration is really high. You could also do maybe 3 barrages and then missiles and then maybe 2 more barrages, up to 2 more barrages, right? It just depends on your haste. But again, we want to exit with 3 clear casting. That's the goal here. Okay, so now that we've talked about that, let's talk about how the rotation would change if we had high voltage for some reason. So I'm going to go ahead and set up like a more AoE-oriented build here. So assuming that we actually do have high voltage in the opener, things are going to be a little bit different. Keep in mind, this is more of an AoE-oriented build, so I do have Sunfury Execution. I also have high voltage. I have Orb Barrage. I could also remove Dematerialize and go into Charged Orb if I wanted to, have another charge of Arcane Orb. That's kind of a quality of life thing. But I'm going to leave it here for now. So in the opener with high voltage, what you're going to do instead... So, I mean, typically you'd be playing this build in AoE, but I'm going to hit a single target just to show you... Typically you'd play this build in AoE, but I'm going to hit a single target dummy just to kind of show you what would happen if you were fighting like a boss, like a one-on-one kind of thing. So in a one-on-one kind of situation with high voltage, what you're going to do instead is you're going to use your evocation just like before. And then we're going to do our missiles, and we're actually going to use an orb here. And then we're going to surge and then barrage and touch at the same time. And then we go on into the normal rotation. So the best way to do the barrage touch is to use a macro for it. The macro will be included in the video here. But the idea is just that we want to basically do a barrage into the touch, because barrage is going to be our way to get a little bit more damage into that touch of the Magi. So the only thing that changes between single target and AoE is that... So even though we would only really play high voltage in AoE, the only thing that's really changing here is if we have high voltage, then we just throw out an extra orb in the opener so that we can guarantee the forward charge on the barrage going into it. Basically, the rule is if you're going to be using Touch of the Magi and you have 4 charges of Arcane Charge, if you have 4 Arcane Charges going into Touch of the Magi, you want to barrage into the Touch of the Magi. That's the idea here. If you don't have 4, then you don't do it. If you have 4, then you do it. And if you have high voltage, it's a really easy way to get 4 right away. So that's why we do it in this case. If you don't have high voltage, again, just do the touch from the surge, right? Don't do the orb. What are we learning today? I'm doing a double dip on an Arcane video and also just going over it because chat wanted me to cover the changes to Arcane. What's up? How's it going? So that's why I keep repeating myself if I say something wrong, is so I get the good clip for the YouTube. So I can just download this whole VOD today after we get done with the stream, and then chop that shit up, and then boom, straight to YouTube. So if you missed it, don't worry. Don't worry. It will be on YouTube, okay? We're double dipping. Yeah, they don't let us double dip anymore on Glorious Incandescence, Birdant Power shit. So instead, we're just going to double dip on the YouTube videos. Okay, so the reason why it's really important that we go into Touch of the Magi with that like 4 charge barrage, and also the reason why we want to go in ideally with 2 Nether Precision whenever we have Touch of the Magi up, is because of this talent right here, Magi Spark. So if you played back in Shelllands, you probably remember a spell called Radiant Spark. It's kind of the same concept, but a little bit of a different take on it. Essentially what they've done here is they've made it so that your first Arcane Barrage, your first Arcane Blast, and the first 2 seconds after your missiles, so it's kind of like the full channel of missiles, is going to be dealing double damage, okay? Once you've satisfied all 3 of these requirements, it's going to pop and do an explosion that's AoE. So whenever we are using Touch of the Magi, we want to go in with the 4 charges, 2 stacks in their precision. That way we're fully ready to go, right? And we do the barrage into the touch. That one's already satisfied, right? So it's going to pop, deal the extra damage for the barrage. Not the full pop, but just the barrage damage. And then once we do the blast afterwards, that satisfies that requirement. And then once the missile hits, boom, the whole thing explodes and it does AoE damage. That's why in AoE, even in AoE with Touch of the Magi, we're going to use an Arcane Blast, because we want the Magi Spark to explode. That is huge AoE damage. So typically what you're going to do whenever Touch of the Magi is up, how bad is it? Oh, we're not as mad as we probably were thinking we were going to be. They actually implemented it much better, like in a much smarter way than they, I think they intended to. Or maybe they intended it to be smart. I don't know. But it seems like we're much better in AoE than we were expecting. So we'll go ahead and just run through just the opener for AoE. So if I'm playing AoE talents, obviously I have high voltage, I have orb. I don't really have to worry about trying really hard to get to 4 charges going in. So I can do the barrage into touch macro here. Yo, Dracaris, thank you for the Twitch Prime. Appreciate you. Thanks for letting me be your Prime guy. By the way, if you want to add free experience, if you want to get it before I put it on YouTube, Twitch Prime is free. If you have an Amazon Prime account, you can just hit the Twitch Prime on the channel, and then you can refresh, and you won't have any more ads for the rest of the stream. And for the rest of the month, you'll have 0 ads. You can also sub if you want. You can have Twitch Nitro. You can watch it on YouTube, right? You got a lot of options, but I'm just saying, if you want to do it without the ads, the best way to do that shit is with the free options, with just the Twitch Prime. Just saying. It's a good idea. Yo, Fisheye01. Appreciate the Twitch Prime. Nick Tarpu, thank you for the Twitch Prime also. We have a hype train going. Let's go. Appreciate y'all. Look at these ad-free viewers. They ain't missing a beat. Yo, Pyro Pancakes with the Twitch Prime too. Appreciate ya. Okay, I'm gonna wait a second and then we'll start up the I summoned the ads, yeah. Is there a good weak aura to display what spells have been used in the Magi minigame? So I have I have like a timeline weak aura down here in the right-hand corner, if you notice. This will tell you which spells I just cast. But no, I don't think you really need one unless you're just practicing, but this is just called Detail Streamer. We're gonna wait for the Twitch Prime notifications to die down before we start up again. What's the weak aura I use to show Arcane Soul and the missiles proc? It is in my pack. You can do !UI, and there's 3 parts of it. There's the clear casting. There's the normal aura, which is just the mage pack. There's the cha-ching for the barrage, and actually there's a 4th one that's specifically Arcane Soul. It's hyperthermia and Arcane Soul bundled into one. Porum also has a pack. Yeah, you can check out his pack too. Yeah, Trevor, that's right. That's the barrage cha-ching one. If you do !UI in my chat, it's a link to my GitHub where I have them all hosted in there. And I'm gonna put them on Wago. Now that the expansion's been out a bit, I will put them on Wago, but for now, I'm just keeping them on GitHub. It's easier for me to do constant updates on that. Okay, so in AoE, if we're trying to do the opener, the big thing that changes, obviously, is that in this case, we have high voltage. Also, we have more targets. So our Arcane Orb is basically going to guarantee give us 4 charges. So we will have 4 charges in this case. So we can use our macro to do the Touch of the Magi. So just to be clear, this macro is available on the Wowhead guide. It's also available in the details of the video. But the idea with this macro is it's going to cast Arcane Barrage and Touch of the Magi pretty much at the same time. Now, Arcane Barrage has a travel time, right? Whenever I press Arcane Barrage, it takes time to reach the target. So since Touch of the Magi is off the GCD, by the time it hits, it's going to basically be accumulated into that Touch of the Magi. It'll be taking part in that Touch of the Magi. So that's why we do it this way. Okay, so for AoE, the macro is not needed if you slam touch quickly. Yeah, it's just easier with a macro. I actually have 2 of them. The reason why I have 2, by the way, is because sometimes you're like in a situation where it's like, here's you and here's the target. And it's really hard to do well if you're like this close to the target. If you're like looking at the target this close, it's going to be really hard to get it off without the macro. So I have the macro just for cases like this, right? Where I don't want to do it manually because the target's too close to me. But the opener for AoE is going to look something like this. So we're going to use our evocation, let it fully channel. Now, obviously, do our missiles. We're going to clip it with the orb. And then we're going to use Arcane Surge into the macro here. And then I'm going to blast. And now, my idea is just I want to use Barrage if I have a way to get back up. So I'm basically just paying attention to if I have a way to get back to 4 charges. This, by the way, is called the funnel rotation. So basically what I'm trying to do is maximize how much damage I can do to the primary target while also dealing damage to the additional targets as well. By the way, if you're in a situation like this where you've got multiple missiles and you have orb available, what you can do is actually use 2 missiles in a row, and that should give you enough to basically get up to 4. Now in this case, I can barrage because I have an orb, so I can send out the orb, and then now basically I have burden available, I have Aether Attunement available. I have 4 charges. If I barrage here, I get back up to 4. I can barrage again, use Aether Attunement, get back up to 4. Barrage again, right? And then use another missiles here, and that'll bring me back. So one of the things that changed recently is if you have Aether Attunement and no Nether Precision in AoE, you're going to want to actually send the barrage first if you have 4 charges. That way you spend it, and then Aether Attunement will refill it instantly again. We'll talk more about the AoE in a little bit, but yeah, so for AoE, the logic is basically there's 2 rotations, all right? There's one that maximizes AoE, and there's one that is more so about getting funnel damage. Funnel damage is getting more damage on the primary target while also AoE. So typically what you want to do is go with the funnel rotation, because in most cases in Mythic Plus, it is better to use funnel. Okay, but in a situation where all the targets are low health, then obviously you would want to just do more AoE damage. So for the maximum possible AoE, you just send the barrages, 0 fucks given, okay? You do not care about the state of your ways to get back up to charges. You just want to send the barrages as soon as you get them. In that case, that is the non-funnel rotation. It's going to be a little awkward sometimes, because sometimes you're going to be forced into 0 charge, right? If you have 0 charge, basically your only way to get back up is to do an Arcane Orb, to do a Touch of the Magi, to use a clear casting, or to just cast like Arcane Blasts. Okay, and that's not really a good situation to be in if you're at the bottom of the barrel, if you have no other ways to get back up to 4. So typically what I recommend is if you're going for full on AoE and you've run out of charges, just like use a couple barrages as you're running around. Sorry, I'm gonna have to redo that part. I'm not feeling too good. Yeah, so if you don't have any orbs, or if you don't have any missiles, if you don't have any way to get right back up to 4, typically what you do is if you're at 0, you know, this is if you're not going for funnel, you would try to get back up to 4 through whatever means would be the easiest, right? So maybe that's just spamming a barrage, maybe that's casting Arcane Blast, but you want to typically avoid casting Arcane Explosion. The reason why we want to avoid Arcane Explosion typically as Sunfury is because Arcane Explosion does not contribute to Spellfire Spheres, okay? Blasting and Barraging does, Arcane Explosion does not. And we are not running Reverberate. You could technically use Explosion, but typically it's not a good idea. I'll just say, like, Explosion requires you to be in melee. I might need to get a drink. We might have to put the rest of this on hold. I'm losing my voice, I think. Sorry, guys. I'm just not really feeling too good today. Might have COVID. There's a distinct possibility that I might have COVID. Let me get a glass of water. So I see people asking about Arcane Explosion, so I'm just going to show you the deets, okay? Okay, so if we go to the APL for Sunfury, you'll see that there's multiple Sunfury rotations here. The only time you use Arcane Explosion is if you have reverberate or if you have 0 charges and there's 5 or more enemies. That's very specific. Okay, and this doesn't really do much for you. If you do, if you look down here, the only way that it uses explosion is if it has reverberate or if it has 0 charges. Okay, so again, the idea is you would only use an arcane explosion if you have 0 charges and you have multiple enemies. Only for the first charge. So it's super low prio, but what you can do instead, if you prefer, is just do a barrage. Like even if it's a 0 charge barrage. That will allow you to not be in melee. It's basically the same damage. And you don't have to pick up a cringe-ass reverberate talent, right? Yeah, so like I recommend against an arcane AoE going for reverberate. So yeah, just to be clear, the priority is like we basically don't want to press Arcane Explosion ever as Sunfury. Okay? You'd really only press it if you have Reverberate, which is not a talent that's really worth picking up as Sunfury. Or if you're at like 0 charges in AoE, and you would only use it on the first charge. But generally speaking, you just don't want to press that button. You especially don't want to press it if you have like a clear casting available, because you could use missiles instead, which would be infinitely better. What I actually prefer to do in AoE, and it ends up being like the same amount of damage, and I don't have to be in melee, is if I have 0 charges, I will just rip a barrage 0 charge. Okay? And usually that is a better way to get back your charges and get back into the AoE rotation. But honestly, the best way is just to not find yourself in that situation in the first place. Again, if we're doing AoE, it's better to err on the side of funnel where you can basically have a way to always get back up. You always have either an Arcane Orb, or you have a clear casting to use, or maybe you're going to your Touch of Magi, but you basically don't want to be in a situation where you're stuck having 0 charges. That's really bad. So the difference between funnel and not funnel is right here. All you have to do is just enable this. There's a variable for it. It used to be only about 2%. I don't know what it is with this change though. I looked into funnel a lot before these changes. Well, let's see if they have run it. I might save myself some time here. Supernova is a stop. Okay, so Porum said, I'm just going to pull up the Mage Discord here. Porum said, Raidbot should now have the new APL, blah, blah, blah. Add a secondary AoE action list for Sunfury and AoE. Dude, Porum's great. Let's get some love for Porum in here. Good shit. I'm glad that he added this as like a second option. That's fantastic. Yeah, it's very similar, but prioritizes leveraging Arcane Barrage or Barrage more. Yeah, so you're just like, you're basically gambling on Orb Barrage more. That's what I was talking about before. You can access it by using the APL variable Sunfury AoE list 1. That being said, it's pretty much all around worse now thanks to another optimization. So this is the missiles one I was talking about. Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, you're going to want to just use the funnel rotation, not the pure AoE. But, I mean, we could use this variable. It's just, you know, it's pretty much all around worse. Like, I would say just stick with the funnel rotation. The touch macro can be found in the Wowhead guide. Just go there and click Arcane and click macros. Okay, so let's take this input and we'll run it real quick. We shouldn't need the overrides anymore. We can get rid of those. Do you use LVUI or any sort of add-on for your UI? No, I use default UI, but I'm actually about to swap over to Cell for everything. I'm going to use Cell for my frames, and I'm also going to use Cell for my unit frames for my player, my target, my focus, etc. Because I'm just a fan of Cell. Cell's a really great one, and if you have a good Cell profile, which I'm working on making one, then you can just use it for everything, which is really cool. Yeah, the importance of shifting power, we'll get there. Haven't quite gotten there yet. So as you can see, the difference between AoE and non-AoE is basically nothing, right? So if I'm going for the funnel rotation versus doing like the normal AoE rotation, basically the same amount of damage, but just way worse priority damage. And also probably going to feel way worse to play as well. Notice the difference in the priority target damage between Sunfury AoE and non-funnel. In my opinion, doing the funnel rotation is just the way to go. I don't think you should really worry about the AoE rotation. Just be aware that like as the pull is ending, maybe you could just throw out a couple barrages. But yeah, I think the results kind of speak for themselves here, right? Basically the same AoE damage, but just way less priority damage. And this is just like padding. Yeah, I think it is just padding. So I don't recommend doing this. In fact, you know what? We're just going to fucking clip out all the parts about it. So in this video, I'm not going to actually cover the non-funnel rotation for AoE because it really doesn't make sense, in my opinion. It does basically the same damage in AoE as the AoE rotation under most circumstances, but it's just way less priority damage on the target. So in my opinion, it's not really worth looking into. I'm still going to include some tidbits about Barrage, but just know that the reason why I'm not covering like the pure AoE rotation, not just the funnel rotation, the reason why I'm covering the funnel rotation, not just the pure AoE rotation, is because it just doesn't really make sense to play it that way. It just seems better to just play the normal, the funnel rotation AoE. But if you want to sim it, there is a variable you can use. So in AoE, just basically do the normal AoE rotation, which is the funnel rotation. It's in the UI paste. If you can't find it, you didn't click the link for !UI. It's in here. You click the link right here, CC Tracker Edit. It's at the very top. The funnel rotation, this one is called Sunfury AoE. Right, so there's basically no difference in AoE, but it is much less priority damage. And you're also going to have weird situations in this where you're going to be at 0 charges. So not great. CC means clear casting for mages. It also means crowd control, yes, but that is a clear casting macro. What do you do in funnel? Yeah, we'll talk more about that. But the idea is just like we already described this, but or we teased it. But for funnel, basically you're just playing the same way you play in single target, except if you have high voltage, you could barrage if you have a clear cast available. And if you don't have high voltage, or you do, either way, if you have an orb available, you can also barrage because then you'd be able to orb back up. The funnel rotation is the same as the single target rotation, except for any case where you're able to instantly get back up to 4, either through Arcane Orb, Touch of the Magi, clear casting. If you have any of those, then you can just barrage, and then you can get back up to 4 using clear casting or like Touch of the Magi. That's it. But we'll spend more on that later. If you missed it, by the way, just wait for the YouTube video. I don't want to repeat myself too much here because I'm going to be clipping this up for YouTube. So I'm not going to go over stuff I already covered except for that one point. That'll be the last time. Okay, so yeah. So here we're going to show single target again, but just with a little bit more extended example because we want to show off what you do after your cooldowns. That's also important. So I am not playing high voltage here, so I will be just using touch on its own. So what we do in the opener again is we use evocation, and then we're going to use our missiles. We're going to clip it with our arcane surge into touch, and then obviously you want to have arcane into up, but I don't have that buff up right now. But we're just clipping our missiles and we're just blasting otherwise. We're going to let this one fully channel, and then we're going to do a blast into blast barrage here. And oh, you know what? We actually got to redo this because whenever you respec, your orbs go away. Let's get our 3 orbs up first, because that's what it will actually look like. Let's just chill here for a bit. I'll just barrage the target a couple times. Have I talked about Evoker yet? There's not really much to talk about. You get buffed by 6%. Firestorm's still bad. Oh, yeah. You do want to put a barrage in there. Yeah, just forget that example. We're going to do it again. That was a bad one. We didn't even have Arcane Intellect. Also, my character is like 588, so I'm pretty geared for right now, but obviously like in a raid, you're going to actually have better gear. So if you want to fix Firestorm, the best way to do it is just delete that shit, because that shit sucks. Replace it with a better spell. The design of the spell is bad. In my opinion, just fucking delete it. Delete Firestorm, get rid of it. Put a different spell in there. If you want to keep Firestorm in the game, then I don't like that. But if you must, then just redesign it to be like a debuff on the target. Oh, you know what? I actually do have a sick trinket I wanted to sim. Hold on, let's check. Am I a single target? Yes, I am. Okay. I want to sim this trinket. Vagabond's Torch. I don't like wands. I will not be doing a wand. But I will probably do a one-handed sword. Damn, Ascendancy Serum is so down bad. That sucks. Dude, I got the craziest Ascendancy Serum. Look at this shit. 580. With Avoidance. That would have been sick if that was a good trinket. I guess we'll use the Priory Signet. You can craft a dagger? Yeah, but crafting daggers lame. You know what's cool? Crafting a sword. Fuck daggers. You know why crafting swords is cooler than crafting daggers? You know why? Because priests can't use them. Fuck them. Only warlocks and mages can have swords. We're cool like that. You think a wand is better? I think wands are strictly worse. You can't convince me that wands are better. I'm sorry. How many times are you going to right-click a boss and pull it on accident with a wand? How many times are you going to have the boss right-clicked and just randomly shoot out a wand and get GCD locked? Wands are just, like, so annoying. I hate wands. I will not use a wand. I refuse. Absolutely. I'm the biggest wand hater in the universe. I fucking hate them. I will never use a wand. Unless it's like a wand that has a special effect that I can only get from the wand. That's the only case I'll use a wand. DPS auto-attacking? Yeah, you shouldn't be fucking auto-attacking. What? You get locked out of your spells if you do that. That's really bad. Don't do a wand, guys. Unless you just like the fantasy. If you're really disciplined and you never right click anything, then maybe that's okay. But like, I don't like wands. I will not be using a wand. You're wand weaving? Don't wand weave. No, that's not a thing. Don't play wands, guys. Come on. It's okay. I will say, if you have the discipline, it's totally fine. I don't think it's a bad suggestion. It's just personally, I will not be playing wands. Okay. Even if it happens once the entire expansion, if even a single time I pull a boss by right clicking it with my wand, that is too many times. Okay. Too many goddamn times. One and done. I'm using swords. I'll use swords, I'll use daggers, I will not use wands. I'll use staff. Staff is fine. No wand. I don't think it's necessarily a good, or like a bad suggestion. I'm just saying, like, I will for sure right click a boss. And then my wand will go off and I'll be sad. What do you do when you go Uma's Arcane Den? I cast Arcane Barrage. You sound like a man who pulled a boss with his wand before? Yeah, one time in Mists of Pandaria, I pulled a boss with my wand, and that was enough. It literally happened once, multiple expansions ago, and still, I am still mad about it, and I will not be using wands. I remember exactly when it happened, too. I just used my pre-evocate, and we were about to pull it's the boss after the bug that does the butt slam if you go in the circle. What is that boss called? It's in Heart of Fear. I forget that boss's name. It was that bug boss with like the whole council, and everyone was doing like the CCs, and I accidentally right clicked and it to like do my CC, and it fucking pulled the little trash ad that you're supposed to CC, and it pulled the boss. So yeah, I won't be using wands ever again. You're watching me make the YouTube video right now, by the way. We're just off topic, but yes, we're doing the video right now. We're double dipping. What am I going to use the spark on? Well, first off, I'm going to wait on my spark. I will not be spinning my spark until I know exactly what I'm doing. Which is, you know, basically waiting until the very last second, which is the correct way to do crafting. But if you just want to send it and give 0 fucks, if you know you're not going to get any loot from the raid, you're just like a shitty character that's just there for splits or whatever. You like are guaranteed to not get anything out of your cash, guaranteed to not get anything out of the raid, 0 gear from anything else, no other way to get stuff, and you're just done with all your content. You've already done your delves, you've already done everything, you've exhausted all your options, and you still don't have a weapon, then I would do a weapon. Otherwise, I'm exhausting every option, and then I'm doing a weapon. But the first thing I'm going to do is just literally everything else, okay? Because with crafting with your spark, you want to exhaust every other possible option first. You want to do everything that you can to fill out all your slots, and then you just look for the biggest gain. You just sim it. Okay, that's the correct way to approach spark crafting. Some people don't want to go through all that trouble, though. If you're one of those people that's just lazy, you just want to send it, do a weapon. But that could potentially bite you in the ass. Imagine you craft a weapon using your spark, right? Imagine you craft a weapon, and then you get a crazy weapon to drop. Or you get a crazy weapon in your vault. You know how dumb you're going to feel that you just wasted your spark? And now you can't even use an embellishment. Because the embellishment, well, I guess you could still on like a 590 gear. But like you couldn't use it on like the good piece. Because guess what? You used your spark early. GG. Just go next. Yeah, not a good idea. Not a good look. Bracers offhand? Yeah, I mean, it could be a good one. You should just sim it. Like, again, the suggestions for crafts on Wowhead, just like the suggestions for best in slot gear, just like the suggestions for stats, it's not there as the one source of information, this is always true kind of thing. It's there for people who are lazy, okay? Because the correct choice is always to sim your character. What is the best stat for me? Sim it. What is the best gear for me? Sim it. What's the best embellishment for me? Sim it. What should I use my spark on? Sim it. People don't like that answer. Even though it's the correct answer, people don't like to hear it, okay? So we have to give these kind of like answers for people who are just looking to do it casually or just don't give a fuck, right? That is why that information is in there. It's not for people who actually care about optimizing. It's there for people who don't care, okay? And it's there for a good reason, because most people who are playing casually don't give a fuck, all right? But I'm just saying, if you're in my chat, you probably give a fuck. I think there's a pretty high crossover between people who give a fuck about their damage and people who are watching my chat or watching my live stream right now. Okay? So if you're in here, you probably give a fuck. So in that case, you should not just send it. You should wait. You should wait and you should sim whatever's going to be the best. Okay? That's all I'm going to say on it. We're done talking about that. You're only here for my cat. Okay. Well, never mind. There's one that's here for my cat only. I don't know where she is. Oh, I see her. She's in the bed. You guys can't see her, but she's over here. She's in that direction. The camera's this way. The cat is that way. And she's sleeping. I'm not going to bother her. I do have a cat cam I turn on sometimes. But, not sure if it's on right now. It's not about keeping 10 stacks of Mana Cascade. That's not how it works. Every individual stack of Mana Cascade has its own duration. Okay? They overlap. So every instance that you get Mana Cascade is adding one more. You're not like keeping it up. Like you're not refreshing duration on it. Each one is its own individual buff. And don't worry about it. You don't even need to track that shit. Don't worry about it. Just if you're tracking Mana Cascade, you're already looking at something you should probably not be looking at, okay? Focus on the stuff that actually matters. Mana Cascade, just treat it like a passive, pure passive. Don't even pay attention to it. Oh, the cat just woke up. Baby? Cat cam. Hold on, let's see if I got the cat cam working. It's not wanting to come out.
And then...
Yo, Telltales. Thank you for the 5 gifted.
Fireball! Fireball! everything! Whoosh!
Appreciate that. Enjoy your pet. Guys, this cam isn't working. Hmm. Hold on one second. We're gonna try to make it work. It's not recognizing it. Okay, let's see if this worked. Yeah, guys, I'm not going to spend too much longer trying to get this cat cam to work, but I don't know if it's working. Doesn't seem to be working. Let's see, maybe I need Razor open. Razor update. Your device may not be functional. I need to like have my voice go on cooldown too, so. No, I need a break from talking. We'll get back into the rotational stuff in just a sec. Okay, it's not gonna work. I give up. Hello. Yeah, all my weather crests I spent. Weather crests are fine to spend. Okay. Let's just check my surge macro real quick. Cool, it's working. Okay. Yeah, so we got our spheres, we're ready to go. Alright, let's do it. So yeah, not having high voltage, we're going to use just touch, no barrage in the touch. So let's go ahead and do it. Evocation. Flip our missiles here with surge into touch. And then we're just blasting. And using nether position as soon as we use those two. I'm just going to barrage so it goes off into touch. That's really an issue because I don't have enough haste. That feels really bad, actually. Yeah, so an unintended consequence of this change is that if you're doing the opener, which by the way, it should only have, it should only really be the case outside of, or like on the pole. So maybe you're lusting the pole. So maybe it's not an issue. We'll do it with lust. We'll do it with lust. I think with lust it'll be completely fine. Haste is our best stat. It's just we're not able to get like great gear yet, you know? Because the expansion just started. You're only doing it on the opener too, right? You're only doing it on the opener. So it's not... I don't think it's like going to be that big of an issue because you'll probably be lusting the pole anyways. I don't have the candlestick now. Has Blood Mallet been updated yet? Oh, we don't have a profile for Blood Mallet yet. I'm on Misha. Do exclamation point armory for my link. But here's my character. Oh wow, it likes that hat. Okay. Quick Onyx. Oh, that's a rank 3 though. Let's change it to rank 2. I'm not looking to spend any money right now. So yeah, we'll do the crit gem. We'll do haste mastery, haste first, haste crit, crit haste. Oh, not the rank 1. We want to do rank 2. Crit haste, mastery haste, first haste, stam haste. Okay, let's see what it likes. All right, so yeah, we'll do the opener again here. So yeah, using evocation, we're gonna lust here and use the missiles. We're gonna clip it with Arcane Surge into touch. Then we're just gonna be blasting if we have nether position. Otherwise, we're gonna be getting nether position. Here, I'm gonna let it fully channel. I'm gonna do a blast barrage here because of burden, and it goes into touch. See that? Okay, now after our window is over, we're going to just be using barrages to get up, right? And now I'm going to shifting power. I'm going to use missiles here because I had 3. You generally don't want to have... I'm not used to how long the new Soul is. I thought I had 1 GCD left, but I guess... Okay, for Soul, I think it's just a barrage angle for me because that was with Lust. I thought I had enough time to do 3 Lusts, or 3 barrages, and then missiles barrage, but I didn't because they shortened it. That just feels so weird. I really don't like what they did here. Why did they make Soul so short? It just does not feel good. You want to have your last global be a barrage, but like it comes so much faster now. That just feels bad. So that the mistake there was at the end, I used the missiles instead of a barrage and it was too late. I'm just not used to the new duration on it yet because it just happened. But that just feels weird. I don't like that. It's in my pack. Do exclamation point UI for it. It's called CC. This one right here. I'll rename it since people keep getting confused by it. Oh, god damn it. I misspelled it. Miskles. There. That way people know what it is. The touch thing, you're just going to have to Google that. It's not a very good one, I'll warn you. Just look for a touch tracker. The problem with the touch tracker is it doesn't like tell me all the touch damage. It just tells me the damage on the main target. Pernotus. Pernotus, thank you for the sub. Welcome back 2 months. All right, Sim's almost done. Okay, it still likes the hat. Oh, it still made it go verse. Interesting. I must be like kind of far off. Wait, there's music? Where are you hearing music from? Please turn off the music. What do you mean? Oh, okay. As a hub, welcome back 5 months. Appreciate you. There's no music. He's trolling. Okay. All right. Let's get back to it. So we'll do the single target opener again. So yeah, Lust is up, everything's up. Let's go. Pre-evocate. Lust here for the missiles. Oh, we don't own that orb. I don't know why I just did that. God damn it. So this is exactly why you don't do it without high voltage. So if I don't have high voltage, notice how I'm at 3. That's not enough, right? I'm just gonna get to 4 here just because I still want to continue with this one. But yeah. In this case, obviously, if we have 4 on the opener, like let's pretend there was like 2 targets or whatever, I could do this then, right? I could do the surge into touch. That'd be fine. But yeah, typically you don't want to use the orb in that case. It's just high voltage that you would do that for. But the whole reason I wanted to get to this was just so I could show this part right here. So leaving soul, right? And then shifting power is important afterwards. Because that's going to bring your touch back up soon. In this case, we do the barrage into touch, right? I'm going to blast barrage here because I'm on my last nether position. And I have Aether Attunement here, so I'm going to let fully channel. And we'll blast into barrage there because we didn't have nether precision. And then you'll notice that my evocation is about to come back up, right? So we're really close here. So we have evocation back up. I did do like a delayed start on this one though, because I was yapping. So typically you will kind of run into the situation where you're almost out of mana. But I'm actually going to wait for everything else to be up here. Or at least be about 6 seconds off. 6 seconds off should be enough. Right here. So I can evocation, get my mana back. Right? Missiles, and then this is where you do everything again. But yeah, the whole idea is just if you don't have high voltage, don't do what I just did. It's hard to talk while I do it. Sometimes my wires get crossed. Also, again, probably have COVID. I'm not feeling too good. But yeah, let's say that we're here on the open air. I'm just going to click this buff off. So let's say we somehow have 4 charges going in, right? Evocation, obviously surge into the brush touch, and then continue from there. You do track burden specifically for the case where you have 1 nether precision and you have burden at power. So it's either you have nether precision, burden at power, or you have 2 stacks of nether precision and then you're worried about the glorious incandescence instead. What's the leg enchant called? Can't see the name on here, but it's on It's on the raidbot site. Wait, is this socket really only 0.1 ahead? Dude, the crit one kind of sucks. Oh, I guess the hat I'm comparing is only 580 versus 584, so that kind of makes sense actually. No, I don't really recommend Living Bomb unless you're just picking up Lit Fuse. And you'd be dropping pyrotechnics for it. Yeah, it feels pretty time gated. There's no doubt about it. It do be like that. Okay. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by other shit. Okay, is it better to use trinkets with the burst macro or separated? It kind of depends on the situation. In this case, I'm just going to use it with the macro because I'm kind of lazy, but later on, I'm going to have it be a separate button. Dratnos is a funny dude. Okay, can I update Luxos? Yeah, it's available on my GitHub. Alright, let's try this again, but not fuck it up. Evocation, missiles, surge. I'm gonna just lust here because I didn't do it already. We're gonna blast barrage here because of burden. One, two, three. Oh, one more. Oh, we made it. And then we shifting power here. I'm gonna missile again because I have 3 charges. Oh, I needed barrage there. Fuck. We're gonna blast barrage here because of the GI. Let the missiles channel. Yeah, so it's really only the first touch that you have to worry about getting the barrage in. Like you have to go out of your way for. It is weird playing around the new burden. It's a little different, but it'll be a minor adjustment. I'll get the hang of it soon. Probably mana, so I'm just gonna do an orb here. Okay, we're evocating. Getting the missiles out. The surge. Touch macro. Boom boom. Blast barrage here. Let this one fully channel. Stay through attunement. I got so many clear casts at the end there. I'd want a shifting power here though, because it's right after my touch window. And touch is going to be coming up right here. We barrage from that one. Because we had one stack another precision. Oh, I'd want to fully channel that. I made a slight error there. By the way, if you clip it, it's only like a 1% damage gain. It's not a big deal. I'm going to need to practice this a bit though before the raid comes out. Definitely feeling a little bit rusty from all the world questing as Frost and also just this rotation being new. And then you do everything again. I'm not going to do it though. What's the touch macro? So it's on Wowhead. Just go to Porum's Arcane Guide. It's in there. But it's this macro right here. I'll try to post it. I don't know if it'll go. You need to separate it though. That's why it's better just to get it from the Wowhead guide. Because it already has the formatting included. Holy fuck, lots of pings. What are all these? Should we barrage in order to not lose arcane tempo? Don't worry about that anymore. As Sunfury. Sorry to keep asking, but if you don't mind, could you please showcase how to do the most bursts in 10 seconds? Like an AoE? Oh, you're talking about like a rare? Just do a single target opener on the rare. You're gonna get fucking pushback though from the boss. That's why it's kind of annoying to play arcane, because like your spells will get pushed back whenever the boss melees you. Okay. Yeah, nerfs. It's whatever. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, the one is called Luxos. It's in the Wowhead. Or not the Wowhead, the paste pen. Sorry guys, I'm really not feeling too good today. We may have to put a pin in this, but hold on. Where were we in the rotational stuff? I want to try to get through the rest of it. Was there what did we cover so far? We talked about the rotation, right, in single target. We were adding steps to it. We were talking about how to do cooldowns and how to do the shifting power into cooldowns. We teased AoE. We talked about how for AoE you're going to be basically barraging in any case where you could like get back up to 4 charges. Okay. We'll do a little bit of the AoE and then I think I'm going to wrap up for the day. I'm just not really feeling too hot. My mind keeps drifting as well. Okay, so we gotta wait on our spheres again. I'm just gonna fucking pump some barrages. It is worse, yeah, I agree. Okay, gotta wait on our buffs to go away now. Y2 Gambino, thank you for the Twitch Prime. Welcome back. 5 months. Appreciate you. Okay. So for AoE, we have AoE talents, yeah? We're doing Sunfury Execution. We're doing High Voltage. We're doing Orb Barrage. If you want a better quality of life, you can also put Dematerialize into or Charge Orb. That is an option, okay? I'm not going to do that because it's going to get rid of my spheres if I do that. And I forgot to do it. So we're just going to leave it this way. But if you're looking to do AoE, same concept. You're basically doing the AoE opener, okay? I'm not going to talk during it because I need to focus on what I'm doing because I'm not like experienced enough with this yet to like have it fully down because of the burden change. But we're just going to go for it. Okay, we already made a mistake. Yeah, I wouldn't barrage there actually. I thought I had 2 clear casting for some reason. So here we would just do single target. Oh, here we barrage. Oh, we have the clear cast. Okay. We have missiles to get back up, so we're going to use those before the orb. We're going to blast to get to 4, and then barrage. I'm going to orb here, barrage. And here's where I want shifting power to get everything back up. I'm going to barrage here before the Aether Attunement. Since I have touch, I'm going to send it, and I'm going to barrage into Aether, and I'm going to barrage here again for the orb. We're going to blast, into, or we would want to barrage there now because we have burden, but I can orb here, so that's why I just went for it. Oh, I can barrage here again. We can missiles. We can do a barrage. Yeah, I gotta get used to burden. That's different. I can't barrage here. I gotta wait. I could barrage here, though. And barrage again, and I have Aether 2 minutes, so I could barrage here. And then barrage again, and barrage again. I could orb here. Oh, I'd want the missiles there instead of orb. Oops, that was another mistake. Okay, I'm gonna have to actually practice this. This is like fucking my brain right now. It's so weird with the burden. Okay, give me some time to get this down. I need it like 2 hours maybe, and I'll have the new rotation down. Yeah, basically if you want to like suss through it too though, it's like if you're in a situation with 4 charges and the missiles, then you use the missiles, unless it's Aether Attunement. In that case, you would just barrage, right? If assuming you don't have Nether Precision, and then if you have the missiles or the orb, you can barrage, but otherwise you just single target. That's the TLDR. Like there's not that much to it. It's just there's so many like weird instances that you'll see whenever you play it, so like it does feel a bit more complicated. But let's just go again. Oh, I would want the missiles here. And then we'll do surge into the touch macro, boom, boom, right? And here I could do the blast barrage, right? Because I have Aether, and I'll be able to get right back up, and then I can orb, and I can use another orb, send it again, right? Here we can do missiles to get back up, and then we're gonna do a blast into barrage here, and then I can barrage again, barrage again, barrage again, blast GCD, barrage again, missiles, barrage, barrage, and I'd want the shifting power here. Missiles here into barrage. Barrage again. Missiles into barrage. Barrage again. Missiles. And I have touch, so we use the touch macro, right? And I can barrage here because I have an orb. And then here I have to single target because I don't have any clear cast. So we're just going to single target here. And I can barrage here because I have burden, right? Missiles and yeah, that okay. I'm going to make a weak orb for myself, actually. I think the easiest way to do this would be a weak orb that says... Do you have Intuition? Do you have Glorious Incandescence? Do you have Burden of Power? Do you have Arcane Orb available? Do you have Aether Attunement? Do you have Clear Casting? If any of those are true, you're safe. Otherwise, you're not safe. Right? Burden of Power, Glorious Incandescence, Intuition from the new tier bonus, Arcane Orb is off cooldown, Clear Casting stacks are more than 1, Aether Attunement's available, which is the same shit, right? Only in that case, you wouldn't get Nether Precision first. So I guess in that case, it's Arcane Missile stacks are available, or Clear Casting is available, and you don't have, and you do have Nether Precision. That would be the case. You have Nether Precision, and missiles are available, or you don't have Nether Precision and Aether Attunement's available. This seems like a weak aura angle. Okay, so anyways, take that information and run with it for now, and we'll talk more about this later. I need to get some practice in and also get some rest. So I will see y'all later. Hopefully I'll be feeling a little better tomorrow, and I'll be back, assuming I don't actually have COVID. Maybe I'm just like not feeling well because of something else. If that's the case, I'll definitely stream tomorrow. If I actually have like full-blown COVID, I may not stream tomorrow, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm going to go to the pharmacy and get a COVID test and see what they say. Yeah. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay. Thank y'all for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.